We haven't done a live stream since literally last year, so there's new things on here, new features.
Really?
Yeah. But yeah, we were just talking about Brett's big black wiener, and he was just showing us the.
He just had it out.
Yeah,
He just whipped it out.
I'll whip it out again if you want.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you're ready.
Okay, yeah,
I mean, it is a live stream. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Say hello. Of course, he can't hear anything. I keep forgetting I got the headphones.
Yeah, you just whip it out whenever you feel like it. Which
whenever,
is,
yep, in public, at the
it.
restaurant, in the store. Yeah.
I mean, I really do respect it. But Devin's on? What the hell? Why are you not on here?
Well, I haven't seen Devin in forever.
Yeah, nobody has. He like disappeared. He's got a new job and he's just been like a recluse.
Yeah, he does that sometimes.
Yeah. Goes through little phases where it's like, yeah. Oh, you guys want to see something really fun?
Yeah.
Brett, you'll like that. What year did you join again?
What the Army?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, 2010.
Oh, okay. You'll like this. Here, I'm going to surprise you.
What, is it a stolen Humvee?
Stolen Valor, but not a stolen Humvee.
I don't know if you heard about the Humvees that got stolen from my old reserve center
Oh, shit.
in California. Yeah.
So I bought one of these because I lost my original one.
Oh, I hate those stupid berets.
Dude, we wore these at AIT at graduation. And then when we got to my unit, they're like, put them in the bottom of a duffel bag or something like that. They're like, you're never going to wear it again.
Yeah, I want to say they actually switched when I was in OCS.
What year was that, you think?
I think 2011, I want to say.
Because I saw a bunch of like, super pogue units wearing them up until like a few years ago. Like, I don't know why.
Yeah, well, if we're still in the blues, the ASUs, yeah, just what better way to crown awful than with that awful. Right.
Oh yeah, so I did it. Yeah, okay, so that is the last time I had to wear it. Was one of the guys, we had just gotten back from deployment in 2010, and one of our guys rolled his car, wasn't wearing his seatbelt, and died. It's like you make it through an entire fucking combat deployment in Iraq for a year, and he's the nicest guy in the world. Anyway, so he dies. So his family asked us if we would do the honor guard for his funeral, and we stupidly said yes. Because we're like, oh, we're tough guys. It's not going to be emotional. So we had to wear our Class A's. And then that was the last time I wore the beret. Because it was like, you're in uniform. And it's like, I'll wear it for him. And then that was the last time. That was like it was April of 2010. But besides that, like, I lost my beret. But I'm like, I need to get one of these just so I can show my kids and grandkids how fucking stupid these things were.
It is the second stupidest piece of U.S. Army headgear after this thing. Someone in 1850 U.S. Army thought, this is cool, we need this.
Yeah, like what the hell? Like trying to be French, but you're gonna add a spin on it and make it look even dumber.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you thinking? Like,
well, at least there's a brim. There's
keep a little bit of sun on your eyes.
That stupid beret, I can't tell you. Like Specialist Gibbons standing in formation for some officer giving another officer an award, and so we're all standing in formation.
Yep.
And the sun's beating down, and you just got this line around your head.
Yep.
And nothing for your eyes. You're standing out there, and it was so stupid. Really, really stupid.
I don't mind like elite units wearing a beret in certain settings. It's like it's a purely aesthetic headpiece. Let's be honest here.
Oh yeah, there's no function to it at whatsoever. No. Yeah.
And it's like if you it was so stupid when they went to that fucking thing in the end of the 90s. They're like, I think whoever was in charge of procurement and whatever was a ranger in Vietnam when they had the black berets, right? And then wanted the army to be all elite. It's like, well, the army's not all elite. let's just be honest here. Like a standard grunt like I was is not the same as an airborne infantryman or a ranger or special forces. It's just simply not true. It's not the same thing. It's not that anyone's better than anybody else. It's just that we do have different jobs.
Yeah, and you have to earn it too.
Yeah, well, that's the
You
thing.
go
It's like
to
yeah,
walk around Fort Bragg
yep,
without a maroon beret, and like everyone's like, oh, okay, yeah, dirty leg. And that's their
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
But at least you did. At least you jumped out of a plane 5 times and didn't die. And
Right.
okay,
There you go.
here's your beret. But to give every kid coming out of OSIT, like, oh, here's your beret. Yeah, it cheapened it, is what it did. And it was,
That's exactly the thing.
yeah,
Yeah, it's just like,
everyone hated it. It's miserable. And then they
especially
never
the heat.
looked right either. They never
Oh
looked
my
right,
God, there's no
especially,
uniformity. There's no
yeah,
uniformity.
like my
Like, you get
units.
the
We're
chef's hat and shit.
logistics
Yeah.
units.
Yeah.
Quartermaster, ammo,
Right.
fuelers and finance and yeah. Oh, it looked horrible because the only time you ever dug them out was when you're doing some formation, and then yeah, they're always fuzzy and horrible. Oh, I don't.
Well, they're always like, people just they just like throw them on like they're like a chef's
Yeah.
hat and they're just like puffed out. I'm like,
They
what
took
the?
some time to train them, like to actually get them to fold over right.
Oh yeah, I just
You
did
had to.
mine.
It took.
You could see that,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, and
because
I
they.
remember shaving all the fuzz
I was
off,
just gonna say shaving them. Yep, yep.
but you can't shave them too hard because then you'll go through the felt.
There you go, and then you're fucked, and you have to get a new
Yeah,
one, and you get in trouble for that. And it's like, okay, but no, that's
that
fine.
was
Like
just
I
horrible,
have mine shaped.
horrible.
I only had to water it down twice, and I got it shaped because it's like muscle memory of like, and then you go in and you cut the cardboard. That's a thing that nobody seemed to figure out. Like at the end of OSIT, we got our berets at the end of basic, but like we didn't wear them until AIT graduation. And so I told the guys, because my dad was in the army too, like he was infantry, and I said, here's what you do: you take a pair of scissors and you go behind and you cut the cardboard to help shape the flash so it looks better and doesn't look as stupid and like puffy. And people pay me like $10 to do that for them and like shave it and like wet it down. And I'm like, put it on your
Oh,
head,
wow.
and then I would shape it for them, just like the helmet covers. And we got our helmet covers in basic after we qualified. I had people pay me like 10 or $20 just to fit the helmet cover on because I'm really good at like fit. I'm a nerd, right?
Yeah.
And so I was really good at fitting the helmet covers on really tight, and they looked great. And they'd pay me like 10 or $20. And I'm just like, okay, 5 minutes, $10. And then I would use that money to sell my fire guard shifts because I didn't like to wake up for fire guard.
Oh, jeez. I was the guy. I still have my little spiral notebook from somehow it fell on me to keep track of the schedule for fire guard and CQ.
Yeah.
And everyone's trading this and that. Like, oh, I'm doing so and so shift for, a bag of jalapeno peanut butter or something.
There you go. Or $5, $10. Yeah. It's like, I mean, I had a guy that actually, he was in the bunk next to me towards the end. He's like, I need to get as much drinking money together as possible because I want to throw a party when I get home before I go to my unit. He goes, would you mind selling me your shift? And I was like, fuck no, you could. How much do you want? He goes, $10. I was like, all right, here you go, buddy. He was like, all right. So he'd go up and he was like, because he didn't mind not sleeping. He was one of those insomniacs.
Oh no, I have to sleep.
Oh, me too. Especially the middle fire guard shift is just like the worst.
That might have been for me the hardest part of basic.
That was for me too. And I was a fat fuck, and I was out of shape.
Yeah,
and the sleep
it was just the sleep, the 5-6 hours at most a night. Yeah, and then woken up at 2:00.
And so
someone kicking your bunk.
Yep. Hey, wake the fuck up! It's like, dude, I just went to sleep. It was 3 hours ago. God.
That was the worst part. That really was the worst part. Everything else was just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the other shit, like it comes with time. Like you're physically sore and whatever, and you're malnourished a little bit. You get stressed, but like the sleep deprivation, I'm just like, if you give me like 6 or 7 hours a night, I promise you, I will do a better job.
My bunk in the barracks, my bunk. So I was roster number 202 So
so you're right in front.
we were in second platoon, and
Yeah.
I'm right next to the hallway down towards the drill sergeant's office, and the lights were always kept on in that hallway. So I was like the only bunk, right? Me and poor Private Garvin, who was on the top bunk, just had this light blasting in our eyes the entire time. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, that's what I said. When you said
That's the
202, I
worst
knew
part.
exactly what you were.
Yep.
You're way up at the front. You're by the drinking fountain.
You're way up at the front. Yeah, we're by the drinking fountain.
Yep.
By
And
yeah.
those lights are always on for fire guard, so they can, and like the drill sergeant, so they can walk into their office at any given time. Oh yeah, those guys got fucked, man. Like it was every morning. There was our 101 and 102 guys in the in the first bunk, at ease, and then jump on the line, and then they'd flip the top guy's bunk and be like make your fucking bed, penis, and then walk into their office. And it was like the guys around him would help him every morning because he'd get his shit flipped every like clockwork. And it's like, oh my god.
I forget. Did you have to keep the there was a form, I forget what number it was, but it's like basically like staff duty form where you have the time and then you have the event. And so when we're doing fire guard, if like a drill sergeant walked in, you're supposed to put the time like 0035.
Drill sergeant enters the
senior drill sergeant Hausner entered the bay. And so we got in trouble because we, I guess, weren't putting enough. Like the drill sergeant would come in the morning. He's like, I have no idea what happened last night. Like a pack of crazy weevils could have come in here and raped you. And I wouldn't know because you didn't write it down on the form. And he says, everything goes on the form. And so that's what we did. We would use like 8 sheets every night. And when soldiers would get up at 3 a.m. to go to the latrine, they had to stop at the fire guard desk and tell us if they're doing a number 1 or number 2. And that would be dutifully noted in the log.
Yeah. It gets really retarded, and it's like we had a dude that was super nice and everything, but you get so stressed that like he woke up. I was on fire guard one night, walking around, and I hear feet hit the ground, not just like somebody getting up to go take a piss. I hear, and we see this guy go across the kill zone, and we're like, oh fuck. And he's like, he looks like he's holding a rifle, but he's not. And he goes, "Cover me while I move. I got you covered." And he's like pulling security, doing a drill in his sleep. He's sleepwalking. And we're like, we're like, oh shit, what do we do? What do we do?
That's scary.
But yeah, we documented that.
Jesus, that's scary.
We were like, it was the screams that you'd hear at night, like the people like just flipping out, like reciting orders and stuff like that, because you're so stressed. It's like, and then the people that wake up with like leg cramps, you'd hear them hit the ground. They're like, ah! And yeah, those videos you watched a couple weeks ago, Mike, with the farting and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
The whatever, it's funny. Pretty close to that. That's a little bit exaggerated, but yeah, you hear lights out, everything, and usually you're just out, like you're
right
out, like
you're so
done.
Tired, yeah.
Or else if they make you like recite a creed or something before you go to bed, then you do that, and then you just out.
Right.
But it's like in the middle, and some points you get so stressed that you like you hear what's going on right before you fall asleep, like a few minutes before. You just hear this. I mean, everybody's shitting their pants, farting. People are laughing, like, oh god, It's like, shut up.
I remember that. Yes, I hated that because I was older. I was like, I think I was 24, and I was one of the old men.
Yeah, at that time, fuck yeah. Yep.
Everyone was 17, 18 years old, which I respect too, because I was not mature enough at 17 to have walked into a recruiter's office.
Neither was I.
It took me a while.
Nobody is.
So for the guys who go in at 17, I'm like, awesome. But they're just kids, and they're just joking and giggling and everything. And here I am, like, shut up.
Dude, that's exactly, it's cool you say that, because like I went through in 2008, and it's like, it was during the surge and everything, and like I was 17 when I went down there, and I think our oldest guy in our platoon was 25. He was our platoon guy. They called him Father Time. And he was also the smallest guy. It's fucking hilarious. Yeah. But he got his shit shoved in because he was the oldest guy, and he was older than our junior drill sergeant by like a couple months.
Wow.
Which is insane. And yeah, it was a weird time during GWOT. But like so yeah, most of us were 17, 18, 19 years old.
Yeah.
You know, that's the majority of it. And if you got somebody that's in their 20s, you're like, oh, this guy's old as fuck. But yeah, we were all just a bunch of asshole kids, like just beating the shit out of each other for no fucking reason.
Oh yeah.
And, oh
yeah,
God.
the craziest fights. And then by the last couple weeks, you got the cliques, and then people hate each other. And
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, that's
it was fun.
we kind of got over that. Like I'll tell this story finally publicly because I'm not going to name any names, and I think the statute of limitations is over because 2008 was, I don't know, 15 years ago. I'm bad at math. 16 years ago, 17 years ago. Jesus,
Yeah.
God, I feel old now. So anyway, there was the cliques, like you were saying. You had the different cliques and the squads and stuff. Like the brothers would hang out with each other, and they really, would kind of just keep themselves. They didn't hate us, but like whatever. And then you get like the city boys from like New York and whatever that hang together, and then the rednecks, all those cliques. And you get the jocks.
Yeah.
And our third squad was a bunch of jocks, and they were all just the fuck with you mercilessly, put you down, give me a birthday beatdown, all that kind of shit, that whole thing. Broke my fucking nose for a second time with a garbage can lid on my birthday beatdown because of reasons. Not good. So anyway, I was like, I'm going to get revenge on you guys. And so we were out one time out doing a bivouac somewhere. I don't remember what the hell week we were on. Probably week 8 or some shit. And it's Fort Benning, so we're digging into clay. And what is in clay but fire ants? And I noticed this, and I'm like, shit. So I'm like trying to dig. I'm like, my battle buddy was from Boise, Idaho. Oddly enough, I told you that, Mike. But like,
yeah,
so
I
he's
remember
from
you telling
Idaho,
me about that guy.
and he hadn't experienced fire ants. I said, dude, don't fuck with these things. Like, do not, because I had been in the South before I went to basic, and so I'm digging around them, and I'm like, here's where we're gonna put our spot, and then here's what you got to do, and all that stuff. And so the third squad, the jocks, right? We'll just call them the jocks, dug their fighting positions, like the ranger graves, in a spot that I knew. I was like, that hill like has tunnels, like main tunnels going out of that side of the hill, and they just dug their shit there. I'm like, we'll see how this goes. So we're out there doing our shit, and all of a sudden we get back, and we were asleep for like, I don't know, an hour or so, and somebody in third squad fucked up. So then they all got brought out into the woods in the middle of the night, and I was on fire guard. And what I had done is I was like, I'm going to weaponize these fire ants. And so I had acquired a bunch of jelly packets from the chow line, the hot chow line for breakfast. I just made sure nobody was looking at it, grabbed a handful and threw them in my cargo pocket. And I went through the line, and you got the shitty cold eggs and hash browns and sausage and all that shit. Ate whatever. So I'm on fire guard, and I still have these jelly packets. And so they're out in the woods getting the shit smoked out of them. And I'm like, oh, this is a perfect fucking time. It could not have been better. So I grab these jelly packets and I dump them out in their holes, and I kick them into the dirt and shit like that, into the clay, the red clay. And anyway, they come back like an hour later or some shit, like right as I was going to sleep, right after I got off fire guard. And also, they're in full battle rattle, so they've got their vests on, they've got their LC. We had LC2s at that time still, like the belts and the fucking suspenders and shit. And so they just laid down in their holes, in their ranger graves, because they were so fucking tired. And all of a sudden you just hear, and then the drill sergeant shines the light and goes, what the fuck is going on? And they are completely covered in fucking fire ants. And there would be no way of knowing how that happened at the time, right? It just happens when you're out in the field.
Those ants.
It's just ants.
I remember that red binning earth that like soaked into your ACUs, like that red color.
And it's solid. When it's dry, it's just fucking horrible.
I tried to DX them, and they said, oh no, they're not ripped or soiled. Like your ACUs changing color aren't like a reason to DX them. They're not ripped. And me being old goody two shoes, I was too naive then to go take them in the back and like rip the knees out and then come back and try to, oh yeah, these are ripped, these are unserviceable. So I should go to my report to my unit in the red ACUs and got lit up for that.
Dude, oh yeah, when it's also like, oh, that's the fucking new guy. Literally the cherry.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
Right there. That's
Yeah,
who we pick up.
walking covered
Yeah.
in, yeah,
All
no,
red.
it stained the uniforms red,
Yep.
pinkish red. Yeah.
Yeah, which would have worked great in Iraq, but they didn't think about that.
Yeah.
But
Well,
no,
if we're
it's like
fighting in a gravel pit or on mom's couch, then that ACU
we're on the
would have been
moon,
good
to be
camo.
fair. Let's be
Yeah.
fair.
Mhm.
On the moon. I
Yeah.
mean,
Worst. Yeah. ACUs with berets. Is there a worse U.S. military uniform you can think of?
that's why I bought the beret, because still have my ACUs. I actually had this on the other night because I was showing Mike, but I still have a couple of these things.
Yeah.
So it's like I just want to show my
I got
kids
a
and grandkids how
bunch of
shitty this
ACU
was.
stuff.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, I
Like
got a bunch of the
my
garage.
rucksack is ACU, like my
Oh, the Molly
ponchos
too.
ACU. Yeah, they're like it's still serviceable. It's still like it's field gear. It's not uniform item, so it doesn't have a wear out date. It's just use it. You're not gonna turn it in and get another one. So it's
Jesus.
yeah, yeah.
Those
And
things
it's
suck. Yeah.
we've been in the new OCPs long enough now that you're one of the old people if you have ACU pattern stuff.
Oh yeah, because
It's been,
2019 September was the wear out
yeah,
date.
was it
So
like
2019 September.
was it 2016? When did we get
They started
the
issuing OCPs in like
OCPs?
14,
Yeah.
but
So I remember I was the commander of the truck unit and I left command in 2017 and we had them. And we were
right.
able to roll our sleeves up.
Really?
Yeah, in the OCPs.
I
For like
fucking
two
hated ACUs because of
for
that
two
reason.
drills we were able, and there's no easy way to do it because the pockets got in the way.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't roll the sleeves nice and crisp like Marines can. They got that Velcro pad pocket that gets in the way. But for about two drills, we were able to roll our sleeves up, and then someone above me, because they said, "Oh, it's commander's discretion." And then first sergeant and
Oh,
soldiers
okay.
came to me like, "Hey, sir, can we roll our sleeves?" I'm like, "Sure." They're like, "You're the coolest, sir." And then 2 months later, the battalion commander, they're too sloppy. Everyone's sleeves are back down.
Join the military, they said. It'd be fun, they
Yeah.
said.
Yeah. Oh man, if you could see the army now, the hair and the highlights and the
Oh, what?
fingernails and the tattoos and
Can they
oh
do
yeah,
their
yep.
job?
Highlights are okay now and nail polish. It's yeah.
Jesus. Yeah,
No beards though.
well, that's what I noticed is like they did that for a while, like they tested that out, especially in Afghanistan and stuff. And like then later on they were like, well, we'll do a field test back home, and it just looks shitty. Like it just looks shitty. But I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
you remember that meme that's got Merle from fucking Walking Dead sitting in the car drinking a bottle of booze, and it says, "So fucking glad I'm out." Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
here's the thing: is like I'm not one of those guys that, like, back in my day we had it so much time. You kids today don't and I don't do that. I just say it's different, and I'm
It's
glad I got
different.
out because I didn't
It's
like it.
different.
That's the thing, is like I had a shitty time when I was in, and so I'm glad I got out because I didn't like it. I'm not gonna fucking berate somebody for I might rib them a little bit, just like, haha, I'm an old timer, but like I just I just hope that we're good to go if somebody tries to fuck with us. That's it. That's all I ask for the military. That's it. And
Yeah, that's all you
I
should
don't,
ask for.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have any control over it, and it doesn't
Right.
make me lose sleep at night. But like, yeah, it's just interesting because like I never thought I'd be one of the well, I mean, I did, but like it's now. I was talking about this with some other guys the other night, and Mike was in. I think you were in on that conversation. I think it was on Discord, where it's like we realized that us GWOT guys that were in like Iraq and Afghanistan, like in like the 20 aughts in like the early 2010s, we're now the like old guys, and it's
Oh yeah.
like, oh shit,
Yeah.
like oops.
And it's hard for us to let it go too, because I'm it's 3 deployments. Like I
Yeah,
grew up on, it's just so baked into us, like IEDs and things. Like that's the world we were in.
and the
And
stress and
and
the
now that's, yeah, and then fob based, like inside the wire, outside the wire, that and it's that's and we did get pretty good at fighting that kind of war. We had to figure out how to fight that kind of war. It wasn't the war we were expecting. We thought Saddam's guys are going to throw their guns down, go home, freedom's going to break out, it'll be
right.
happy ever after.
Mhm.
We weren't ready for the war. We had to learn how to fight it. We had to learn the new ground rules, taking an army trained to fight the Soviets and
Yeah, well, that's exactly what it is. Yeah,
turn it into a police force against a guerrilla insurgency, doing regime change in countries. Like, we learned how to do it and we did it well. But now that experience, like us GWOT guys, like the new thing now, the new drumbeat is LISCO, large scale combat operations. We're going back against
to the
Russia. We're going
conventional
back
shit.
against China.
Yeah,
We're going back to conventional. And it's like, okay, grandpa, yeah, that's good. That's how you did it on the fob in 2011, but that's not how we do
yeah,
things now.
right.
And it is
No, that yeah,
difficult for us to translate that experience, because to an extent, I spent the majority of my career learning the GWOT. The perfect example, I might have said this on one of the last streams we did, but we were at an AT not many years ago, and this was supposed to be transitioning to more LISCO environment, where you're not on a fob, you jump your talk, you jump your base, you're never in the same spot. But we had security on this gate, and the op 4 drove right up to the gate in the op 4 vehicle, which was marked. They were wearing the op 4 uniforms, they had positive ID on them, and they're calling in. I was in the talk in the battalion, and I and the um, they're calling it in. Hey, a vehicle's coming. Like, oh, okay. So they got a machine gun, and it's like, okay, and they're describing the uniforms, like, so
oh my,
that's
oh, they're
the
doing the
enemy,
old
right?
school shit. Yeah,
But these kids had been trained for so long that you don't shoot unless someone shoots at you first, that they let the op 4 ride right up to their ECP and light them up, because they had been, for the
oof.
last 5 years before that, we had trained them, like, just because you see guys with guns doesn't mean they're the enemy. They have to shoot. If they're not a threat, you can't engage them back. You got this restrictive ROE. And when we're doing the AAR and they're explaining, no, as soon as you see the enemy, you have PID, it's the enemy, they're in the enemy's uniform, you can
Done.
shoot them. You don't have to
Use
wait for them to shoot you. And these kids are like, whoa,
that,
like this,
dude. Yeah, I get it. I believe you 100%, man. Like
yeah,
that's
because that had been drilled into them so hard that you don't just like, when you feel threatened, you don't feel frightened. And in a lot of ways, we had a far more restrictive ROE over there than the average law enforcement had in the US. A cop
I'm
says,
aware.
I feel for my safety, pop, 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 justified shooting. If you did that in Iraq, I felt I was in danger for my safety. Well, off to Leavenworth you go,
Well, hey,
murderer.
guess what? Speaking of the devil, look what I have.
Oh, I can't see that.
It's an ROE card from 2009 when we were there.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So I'll just read this verbatim so you guys can. It's on the record. Okay.
Hmm.
I know, Brett. You're gonna laugh at this and be like, "Yeah, this sounds familiar."
Mm-hmm.
Mind you, we're in a combat zone, getting rocketed, mortared, and shot at, and IEDs are going off. Right. You are authorized to use force in self-defense and to accomplish the mission as ordered by your commander. 1. You may engage individuals based on their conduct if they are committing hostile acts, demonstrating hostile intent. Positive identification is required prior to any engagement. You must be reasonably certain that your target is the source of the threat. 2. Escalation of force. If time and circumstances permit, use escalation of force to determine whether hostile act or intent exists. When a hostile act or hostile intent is obvious, you may immediately engage with force to stop the threat. 3. Warning shots. Warning shots serve a narrow function and should only be fired against a safe backdrop. They may be used as a signal to cease threatening activity, but should generally not be used against mounted threats or as a means of crowd control. 4. The use of force, including deadly force, is authorized to protect the following: 1. Yourself, your unit, and other friendly forces. 2. Detainees. 3. Civilians from crimes that are likely to cause death or serious bodily harm. 4. Personnel or property designated by the OSC when necessary to restore order and security. Number 5. You may only detain civilians for 2 reasons. 1. Pursuant to an Iraqi arrest warrant, or 2. You witness them engaged in criminal or combat activity. You must protect everyone you detain. You must fill out a detainee apprehension card for every detainee. Detainees must be turned over to competent Iraqi authority with unclassified evidence of criminal misconduct to warrant continued detention within 24 hours unless the GOI requests an extension. That was part of our ROE card. That was part of it.
Yeah.
But
did you have to carry it in your
Yes.
pocket?
Yep.
Yeah.
Laminated. Yep. This pocket.
Yeah. So it's hard coming when that's been your military experience for 10 years to then translate over to this. I'm having a challenging time of it because now I'm the SPO of a sustainment battalion, which has a very
Yep.
different job when you are in a GWOT fob based environment versus large scale combat, like two different worlds. And I'm finding that the lieutenants coming out of Bullock are more up to speed on like because in GWOT you never moved, like all your sustainment was at the fob. And the
Yeah.
fob, they would mortar you and rocket you from time to time, but they didn't have anything that could actually take you out. They were
Well, you speak for
pinpricks.
yourself, but
Well, I mean the base. They can't take out the base.
no, they
Oh
can't have
yeah,
the. They can take you out
yeah,
personally.
they'll
Like,
take you out. They took a lot of people out.
Oh yeah, but no,
with
they'll just
these.
replace you. They'll just replace.
Oh
you.
yeah, yeah.
That's
But
it.
the
I know
base.
what you're saying now.
Right. Yeah. It's they don't have like JDAMs that are going to come just
No,
the whole
no.
right. Yeah.
Yep.
It's pinpricks in the scheme. It's attrition is all they can do is just keep you on edge, chuck mortars in, and you just hope that when the alarms and the CRAMs go off, that you just hope that
It's
that's
not
your
day.
day.
Yep. Yeah.
And that's the environment I'm used to operating in, where you're safe, and you are safe nowhere. Just ask the Russians and the Ukrainians now. You are safe nowhere. You got to be hundreds of miles behind the quote, front line before you're safe. And it's the logistics concentrations that are the first targets, that are the easiest targets, because it's pretty easy to hide a light infantry battalion. You can dig in, you can get in the bush. You can't hide a division's worth of artillery ammunition. You can't. And the trucks to move them. Yeah. It's big, it's loud, it's hot. You got all the spectrum signals everywhere, and it just screams in this drone warfare paradigm shift now. It just screams, kill me. If they can see you, they can kill you.
Oh yeah,
so
that's
translating over. It's and I have to eat a bit of humble pie because my experience does not translate here. What I was really good at in 2014 and 2021 and 2024 when I was over there isn't what the future might be, and that what we're being told to prepare for. So it's interesting to see the paradigm change in front of my eyes. And then, like you say, being the dinosaur, being the old guy
with the combat patch,
like that's the one of the few with the combat patch now.
Yep.
Like if they've come in the last 5-6 years, most of them don't have one. Yeah. Well,
that's why I say I don't really like judge or like give the new guys shit, because hey, I don't understand what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
And I everybody's got their own struggle. Every generation of the military's got their own struggle. It's mainly the guys that I've noticed that never fucking went to a combat zone who are sitting there on Facebook or just in general going, well, you guys didn't have it as hard as we did, you know, and it's like, hey, it just
We
shut
had
up.
it
Like, it
pretty
was
easy.
different.
We had it GWOT era. We had it pretty easy.
Yeah, I mean,
Compared to like Korean War or Vietnam.
yeah, but here's the thing. Okay, so to that respect too, like think about it this way. Not everybody in Korea was in combat. Not everybody in Vietnam was in combat.
Right.
There was a lot of people in Vietnam who were in Saigon the whole fucking time. They did 2, 3, 4 tours, and they loved it, and they had a great time. They come back and they,
Yeah, that's
you know,
true.
when GWOT happens, they go, "Oh, it was so bad over there." It's like you weren't a grunt. You weren't out in the field. Like, come on, man. Like, so that shit happens in every. As far as the warfare is concerned,
Yeah.
I talked to a World War II vet right after I'd gotten back. We did a Veterans Day thing, right? And this World War II vet was a POW. He went through North Africa, Sicily, and he got captured in Italy. I think he was first ID or something like that. And he said, yeah, our war, like, you know, it kind of made more sense. Like it was a war, like we'd always thought about it. And he goes, I don't know how you guys deal with those roadside bombs and like the guerrilla warfare and stuff. He's like, I didn't know how the Vietnam vets did it either. I was like, yeah, but like your war. So he goes, yeah, we had a lot of combat and stuff, but we also got pulled out the line for months at a time. And then we'd get R&R, and then we'd go back, and then it'd be bad. And then he's like, you guys didn't have a front line. There was nowhere to go for you guys.
Yeah.
And I said, I kind of like put it into perspective. A World War II vet saying that, who was wounded, captured, and then spent most of his time over there in a POW camp until 45, was like, I'm really glad I didn't fight your war. That's what he said at the end. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
that's an interesting
again,
perspective.
it's just different. It's not any better or worse. That's my whole point, is like that's why I don't like war in general. I think it's a really stupid idea, and it's a really shitty way to solve a problem. But it's become a way to make money for certain people, which we don't have to get into that, but like that's what it's become, unfortunately. But I think that every single conflict and like war that we've had in history is different. I don't like to use the term better or worse. It's just different. And the warfare style is different. The uniforms are different. The people are different. The society is different. The technology is different. The way we conduct warfare is different. And I think GWOT wasn't easier per se. I think it sucked equally, because it was probably one of the most political conflicts in recent years, right? And when you mix politics directly into a war, like, I mean, on the ground, boots on ground, politicians and CIA and people from the White House and all that stuff, and the Pentagon, on ground micromanaging shit that they have no fucking clue about.
Yeah,
That's
the
its
Blue
own kind of
Force
hell.
Tracker era.
There you go.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, I respect Vietnam veterans. I respect Gulf War veterans. I respect Panama veterans. I respect everybody, because I'm like, it's interesting to just talk. What I don't respect is the people that are always trying to bigger dick one another. Whatever era or, you know, time it's from, people do that. And then I'm like, where were you deployed? Well, I was at Fort Ord. Like, that's not a deployment. You were in the Army. Like, but you know what I mean, right? Like, the Cold War could have kicked off at any time, and we would have been there. I was like, but it didn't. So you were active duty, which still sucks. The Army sucks. The military sucks. It's a tough life. Like, when you're actually in it, it's fucking.
And you never have any control over where you end
Exactly.
up going.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm sure there are soldiers who went from assignment to assignment during GWOT era, and they never actually ended up getting deployed, even though they didn't actively avoid it.
Well, that's the thing
I'm
too. Is like,
yeah.
yep, I've seen a lot of GWOT license plates or NDSM license plates, which I didn't know you could get, which is funny. But like,
Really?
I'm not shitting you. I've seen these before, right? And
Wow.
I'm just like, oh, you guys must like don't feel guilty, man. Like,
That's like whenever some vet or someone commits a crime and the news is covering them. It's called a decorated veteran who recipient of the National Defense Service Medal.
Yeah.
Yeah, decorated and a highly trained. He was he had a marksman badge. You know, like highly trained, decorated veteran. Um,
Yeah, it was funny because like we were talking about this a while back. Like when I got out in 08 from AIT, I had 3 fucking ribbons. 2 medals and a ribbon. I had the fucking Gay Pride ribbon,
Yep.
NDSM, and the
I had
GWOT.
the 3 gimmies.
Yep. And it's like
Yeah.
out of basic and AIT, like holy shit! Now they don't even get an NDSM; they just get nothing. Well, they get the Gay Pride ribbon, but like it's like that's it. And I can't even fathom that. And then I got 6 more after that.
Oh yeah, every deployment just rains ribbons. Like
well, you get the good cookie if you don't fuck up for a certain amount of time. Like it's I got an RCOM for participating.
So when I still need to buy the pinks and greens.
Oh, I suppose. Yeah, you're still wearing ASUs.
I haven't done anything where I needed to put on a dress uniform, and I should check because this is going to be the first drill I'm actually on the books with my new unit. I need to get their schedule and see if they're going to do something like normally it's December for some reason is the Class A inspection, but I am not going to wear all my ribbons. I'm not going to look like a North Korean general. There's no reason why an Army Reserve major should have 5 rows of freaking ribbons. Like,
they gave you that many things?
Yeah, I got every deployment you go to, you end up. Oh, I'm hearing myself.
Yeah, Nate, you're echoing. Fix your shit, bud. Okay. I'm still. You got to fix your shit, buddy.
I'm just gonna play with my black wiener until it's fixed.
Just mute your mic temporarily until you get out. He's throwing his ear. Shit. Oh, that beard is thick. Looks like fucking Unabomber.
Oh, he can't hear him.
Oh, he can't hear us. I'm typing. How the fuck? Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay.
Better.
Okay. What the hell was I gonna say?
I don't know. Medals.
So the only
ribbons.
medal that I actually give a flying fuck about I have 8 total medals and ribbons is the Iraq campaign medal with the bronze star, like the campaign star. That's the only medal that I actually give a flying fuck about. The rest of them, they're fun.
Yeah.
But like they're literally just gimmies, Like you said, it's just like
that and the overseas service bar.
Oh, the overseas service ribbon, yeah. That one's
not
bad.
The bars. Do you get the bars on your sleeve for every 6 months?
2 of them, yeah.
Yeah, those because those are that's your life. So you see like these CSMs with like 18 bars going up their sleeve. That's time that they spent overseas. And if it's GWOT era, it's overseas in a combat zone.
In a combat zone, yeah.
Yeah, I respect. Like I can't tell you what ribbons are which. I really don't know.
Well, I'm like an autistic
I don't even
retard like that. Like I know all of them because
I don't even know what I have. I have no idea what I have. I gotta go look at my DD-214 every time I gotta do an inspection or I need a DA photo. And I just go to like rackbuilder.com or one of those websites and then they just send it to me. But when I get my pinks and greens, I think I'm only gonna wear like 1 or 2 rows because there's no regulation that says you have to wear all of your bling.
You have to wear the Army service ribbon as far as I knew back in 08.
Yeah.
That was the reg. Like you have to wear that. And because there was a guy in my unit that, well, he never wore his Class A's because he got gargantuanly fat after basic and 2 deployments, but like he didn't give a fuck. He was done. And then he got out and then re-enlisted and then ended up going on the deployment with us. And I'm just like, oh my god. So he'd already done a combat deployment before in 04 and 05. Got out and then it was like, I want to hang out with my buddies a little bit. We won't get deployed again probably because we're National Guard. And then boom, and he's like, fuck this. So anyway, but he said the only ribbon on his Class A's that he had was the gay pride ribbon. And he's like, that's the only one that you're required to wear. I'm like, but yeah, he was.
Mic check. Am I okay or am I still echoing?
Yeah, we can hear you.
You're good now. You're good now, dude.
Okay.
Thanks.
You're not coming in through my headphones for some stupid reason. I only got you through my speaker, but the Z's are working at least. So
yeah, it's not echoing. So, but Brett, it was funny because like when we were in Iraq, when he deployed his first time, they deployed on a battalion level, so they were underneath the command of a bunch of different like divisions and stuff like that. So he got 5 combat patches from 04 and 05, right? It was during that time. He chose to wear the 42nd Brigade Combat Team patch. Do you know what that is?
No.
The rainbow. Great unit.
Oh, really? Yeah. So that's the New York National Guard, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's in that area. It's New England in general, but yeah, it's like it's New York and well, no, it's what the fuck state is that? It's in that
New
area.
York.
Well, New York's got the 26th and 27th. And
yeah, no, they got like the Statue of Liberty patch.
The 77th?
Yeah.
I don't think that's in New York.
I don't know.
Be.
But anyway, I don't know what the ribbons are. I don't know what the patches are.
So he wore in Iraq because he was like just pissed off, from having to be there again. He was wearing the 42nd, like the rainbow patch, and everybody's like,
that's a distinguished unit.
It is very.
Yeah.
Because they fought along our unit, this is my unit, the 32nd. So they fought alongside of us in World War I, so we go way back. And but he wore that because he's like, I'm more proud to wear a fucking National Guard patch from like where the hell is it in New England? But he's like from so and so than I am to wear a fucking active duty patch because these guys are so fucking retarded. And I was like, okay. He's a very spiteful dude, but he's very funny.
Yeah, they changed the reg so that you only get one combat patch, and it's the patch of the first unit in your chain of command that's authorized its own distinctive patch.
That's why
normally it's your brigade.
This is a brigade, so I wear 2 of these, and we were with a bunch of other units, and nope. So I can only wear 1, but
yeah. It used to be you could get, and it was a free for all. The reg was very vague, but 670-1 they updated it, and so now you get 1. But they also updated it where it says now there is no time in country requirement. So it used to be 30 days.
Yeah,
this is recently. So if you look up 670-1, look up it's no longer shoulder sleeve insignia former wartime service. It's now something else.
Huh.
They read it has a new name, and it says there is no time and country requirement, which means if you hop over the line from Kuwait into Iraq, and you have to do, I think it was a DD 1610, which is what pays you for the 1 day, your $750, I think it is now, of your imminent danger pay.
Oh my
so
god!
That's your supporting really documentation.
They're really
so
it's basically like the Vietnam guys versus like the Desert Storm guys, because like the Desert Storm guys, like they were like 90 hours in combat, bam, CIBs, Bronze Stars for everyone. You guys get this, you guys get that. But the Vietnam vets got fucked.
I think it used to be 30 days. You had to be 30 days.
It was 30 days when I was there. It was 30 days. Yep.
Now there is no time and country requirement. So on my last deployment, I just got back from. So I was a vastly overqualified movement control team commander. I had a major in command of a movement control team. But we were in charge of ASR Aspen, which runs from Kuwait across the border to Iraq, runs north, and it meets MSR Tampa north of the Basra area, but before Baghdad. And if you've ever gone through Kabari crossing, that was, K crossing was that was in my AO. I was like the OIC for our operations at K crossing. So for everyone in Kuwait, which is it's not a combat zone. Kuwait is now a PCS assignment. People are being PCS'd to Kuwait.
Yep. That's what happened when I was there. I'll tell you about that after your story is over.
You don't get a patch for Kuwait. You do get a patch for Iraq. And now the reg says there is no time and country requirement. So I spent the 9 months where I was the mayor, you could say, of Kabari crossing. The Kuwaitis own it. We gave it back to the Kuwaitis after we left Iraq. So that was like 2014, something like that, 2013. So the Kuwaitis own it, but we're still running convoys through there. So we have a presence, and I was in charge of the American military presence at Kabari crossing, which meant I literally had the keys to Iraq. And I had 9 months. I had to write a memorandum for record, a policy memo about this combat patch tourism, because people down in brigade, people in division are trying to send bus loads of their people up from the big bases, like up from Arif John. And we're talking about like the paralegals for the JAG, the JAG team on Camp Arif John want to go to Iraq, step over the border, and I would push back. But you can only push back. No, and it creates and my policy memo, which only held so much weight, because I would get overridden by my own actual chain of command. Like the battalion commander, brigade commander would say, no, I'm sending my people there for professional development, or they're doing a leader's recon, or like they need to observe a transload operation and act like they would make up some operational necessity excuse. But it created this carnival atmosphere.
Hold on.
I'm going to take off.
Okay.
So, I'll see you later.
See you. Have a good night.
So it kind of makes a mockery of it. Yeah, it's like, and then they go back and they go, "Oh, I've got a combat patch." It's like,
right. Oh, we would joke about that. Like, oh yeah, they're gonna get home. It's like, oh yeah, well, when were you in Iraq? It's like, oh, at 2:30.
I spent fucking over 9 months there.
Yeah.
Like it was not fun. Like it was like so stupid. Like that's why, like, because I was showing you. So yeah, when we got there, obviously I just had where the fuck is my sleeve? Where's the sleeve? What the hell? Oh, there it is. So obviously I just had this one patch, the left shoulder. And then after 30 days, we get this guy. It was funny as shit because this dude showed up, this new guy, because we were National Guard, so we got back, and like it was 3 months we got back that we didn't have to go to drill, right? We got 3 months off basically.
Right, yeah.
And then we had 1 or 2 drills, and then they started integrating the new guys that had joined while we were gone, like the rear det guys, into our unit. And hold on, let me see if I can focus the fucking camera. And it was funny because this fucking kid joins the unit, first drill. He's cocky because he got to go to airborne school, right? He was the one National Guard pick in the company where they're like, here, you get lucky, you get to go to airborne school. He shows up his first fucking day of drill, and he's got his patch, his unit pin, the red arrow, on his right shoulder underneath his flag. And he's got his jump wings on. He's got his chest puffed out. And I went, hey, come here, bud. And I'm only an E3. I was an E3 pretty much the whole way through because my leadership, whatever. We don't have to get into that. My leadership sucked. My immediate leadership, like my first sergeant and commander sucked. So I'm sitting. I'm like, come here, buddy. He was like, what? I said, what's different about our uniforms? He's like, nothing. I said, you didn't notice the number of patches that I'm wearing versus where you're wearing and which shoulder they go on? He looks and he's like, oh shit. And I'm like, yeah, take it off. He goes, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that shit. And I'm just like, yeah, you're lucky that I spotted you first and not one of our NCOs that's done two combat tours. And I'm like, just pay attention next time. But yeah, he was all like, oh, I'm airborne qualified. I'm like, good luck. Your jump pay is going to be for 3 months. 3 months, and then you're not going to fucking use it. But yeah. Anyway,
no, I never wanted to go to airborne. I'm not a heights person.
Oh, me either, man. Like, oh
yeah,
fuck.
I am perfectly happy to sit. I'm happy to be a dirty leg.
And I'm a big
stay
fat
on the
fuck,
ground.
so it's like I'm like, I think if I hit the ground with all the gear, it's probably gonna break my body.
Everything.
Yeah. It's like I'm not a little dude, right? So it's like I was so scared about that shit, but I mean, people get through it all the time. Just like, nah, I'll be a damn dirty leg.
When I'm in OCS, and I'm watching the towers at Binning, and the guys hanging from the towers. That just was like the sum of all of my fears.
Yeah, there's no
dangling
fucking way.
off of no.
There's no way. There's no way.
Yeah.
That would have sucked ass. Yeah, not good at all. But yeah, I mean, fun times. I mean, glad I did it in a way. Sometimes it's like, shit. Wish I would have just gone to tech school, but instead of like not joining the military. But then it's like, yeah, it taught me a lot about life, and it's kind of an interesting experience in a way.
I have no complaint about the reserve. It lets me have my cake.
But you also have a job that like transfers to like civilian shit. Like
I do.
Bravo,
being
so it's like,
being not that I work in it, but yeah, I mean, I had a job offer from CSX Railroad. I could probably do a pretty impressive resume for anything in logistics, like the amount of commodities and the dollar amount and everything and the miles and everything coordinated I've done.
Oh yeah. Oh fuck yeah.
Yeah. No, that's so in logistics. Yeah, there are a lot of civilian
transferable
crossover,
job skills,
high demand. Yeah, 11 Bravo. It's like
I got 8 FIAD credits for college.
Yeah.
I mean,
but infinitely cooler though.
Not really. I was a fucking idiot. Like, I got a 78 on my ASVAB, I had a 119 GT score, and then when I was at MEPS, we got through the physical part of it, and like the guy is like, "All right, just go through these jobs and let me know what you want to do if you got any questions." So I'm like, "I want to do 11 Bravo," and he goes, "All right, yeah, no, let's just take your time, dude." And I'm like, "No, I want to do 11 Bravo," and he's like, "Oh, you're serious?" Oh God.
So when I went to OCS, there's a tradition. So it's interesting in OCS, you don't know what your branch is. At least this is when I went through. So I commissioned in 2011.
That was pretty damn quick. So you're E4 and then you freaking go to OCS immediately.
Yeah, I was only so I would have been an E4 from June, and then I went to OCS in June. Yeah, not like a year.
It's about a year. Yeah. Yep.
So OCS, your branch is determined by where you are on the order of merit list.
Mm-hmm.
And because OCS is run by the infantry, there's an unwritten tradition that the top, oh yeah.
I didn't know that.
It's an infantry units, third infantry regiment. It's a infantry unit, infantry emphasis, and so the top, all the infantry slots you get. So let's say there's 100 candidates that are graduating, and there's like 12 commissions for infantry. The tradition in OCS is that the top 12 on the order of merit select infantry, because Queen of Battle, coolest branch. I didn't have to worry. There were 75 who commissioned in my class, and I think I was 67. on the order of merit list. So I didn't have
Nice.
to worry about
Going to
it's all
infantry, yeah.
it's all PT based. Like the academics and everything counted for nothing, and your PT score counted for everything.
That's
And I'm
the
in
infantry.
the
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
I'm in best shape of my life, and I'm doing like a 280 on the old PT test, which
Jesus, yeah.
I thought was awesome. But for the like, if you're not doing 310, 315 extended scale,
Extended scale. Yep.
you're
Yep.
garbage. Yeah. And it all and your release time, there were release runs where your time went to your OML. And I was a fairly good runner. At least I thought. So one of the release runs was 5 miles. I did it in like 40 no under 40 minutes, because 40 minutes was fail. If you
Yeah. So
exceed 40 minutes, you
yep.
fail.
You're doing like a 7:30 mile.
You're doing
Yeah.
sub 8-minute miles 5 in a row. And for me, I thought that was great. Like I was impressed with guys are just doing like 5-6 minute miles back to back. How are this is
Dude,
some inhuman running ability that these guys. So their OML, they're all just
yeah.
way above me. Yeah. So
Dude, the
I end
infantry
up
is weird because it's like
ordnance.
I didn't know OCS was run by the infantry, but it makes sense, I
Oh yeah.
guess, because it's like it is. I'm not trying to brag or like fucking dog anyone else, but it is a very tough job. It's
Yeah.
very physically and mentally demanding, and because I wasn't a PT stud because I'm 6'4". I'm a big corn-fed, Midwestern Wisconsin boy. I can shoot like a motherfucker though, and that's what kind of
Mhm.
saved me. But like,
Yeah.
and I'm good at doing tactics and shit like that. I can do the job, right? I'm just not getting a fucking 270 or 280 on my PT test, and sucking dick, which they didn't like. The infantry leadership, like the first sergeants and stuff, platoon sergeants, they like you to suck their dick. They won my game. So I didn't, like I mentioned earlier, I didn't really make any rank. And I got them to admit why they did it though after we got back. So that's another story. But like, no, but like it was like, dude, the minimum right is 180, right? The
Yeah.
commander's intent was 210 to make his OER look better, right? I got a 220. Not anything to brag about, but like I don't do
Hey,
push-ups well,
a pass is a pass. Oh, it was a
dude.
sit-ups for me.
Oh, see,
I did.
I've
I would
smoked the sit-ups, and it was
two.
usually the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, yeah,
yeah.
push-ups. I could knock out the old push-ups on the old APFT, which you could go wide.
Oh, yeah. We could.
Yeah, now the new ACFT, they're narrow and you bottom all the way out. They're a little harder. But the wide push-ups, I could crank out a ton of those. I would do like 50 nonstop and then catch my breath and then do
Yep.
like
Pop out
5
a
and then
couple
do
more.
5
Yep.
and then do
Yep.
yeah, and there's but yeah, sit-ups for some reason. I couldn't sit up in 2
Are you
miles. I
are
could
you a shorter guy, or I don't know how tall you are? Like,
I'm a little over 5'10".
so you're not short, yeah? Because like, there's some people that like have problems with sit-ups, and I was not one of those. I was like one of those big like tank guys, right? So my core was really strong. So it was just bam, 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 almost maxed them out. Okay,
Yeah,
good to
I
go.
always struggle. Push-ups is always my lowest score. The run was my moneymaker. 2 mile run. I was normally in the high 13s or low
Fuck,
14s on
yeah,
my
that's.
my 2 mile, and then I've slowly watched that go up and up and up.
Well, you're getting older too, man. Like, come
I am
on, give
freaking
yourself some
old
grace.
now. Yeah,
Give yourself some grace. But
I know, but it's frustrating knowing that, man, why am I so slow?
what sucked, I was in the 17
Yeah.
to 21 bracket for fucking the
Which is
whole time.
16 minutes, right?
It's 15:54, and
Okay, yeah,
my
basically.
fastest run time was in Iraq because we were running on Camo Hill at Camp Liberty, and I was like, the phalanx was the CRAM was right there, and I'm like, I want to get this run over as fast as possible because if this fucking thing goes off right now, I'm gonna be deaf for the rest of my life. And so it was like a horseshoe thing, like you run kind of like down and around and then back again, like the track was, and because it had to be flat, had to be official. I don't know why they made us do PT tests in country. That was fucking retarded. But like, so I ran a 14:48, I think it was, and that was my fastest fucking time because I'm not. Again, if you saw me in real life, I'm not a runner, right? I'm not built for running.
Yeah.
I'm built for putting 120 pounds of shit on my back with a fucking 240
See,
and full
that's
gear
where
and going
you
forever.
probably would have noticed then, like on road marches, it's the
Yeah.
skinny little twig runners are falling out.
I had to carry their shit,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
because they were like dying. I
It
said, hey,
was
bring a
a
super bag in my
matter
run.
of
Yeah.
pride. So in OCS, they made me the 240 Bravo gunner.
Yep.
I don't know who I pissed off. Everyone else is carrying M4s, and
Yeah.
they give me the 240 Bravo.
Yeah, that was my job. Like I was
Okay.
yeah.
But yeah, no one is carrying my gun on these road
No.
marches. No one's taking my gun.
Right, and that's kind
I
of how it was.
love
Like,
that gun too. That 240. That is a great. I've all like out of all the 50 cal. Yeah, I like it. Saw. I don't like the saw, but I
here's the thing:
really like the 240.
the 240 is like this was my baby. I'll send it to you on Facebook. The 240 was my favorite. The 50 cal, I always got a chub shooting that thing because it's so powerful and it's so fucking fun. The saw, it works definitely, and but the 240 was just like, hey, at 800 yards, I'm gonna hit you within a 3-round burst.
Yeah,
and it's gonna work every fucking time.
And it like you could weave cloth in between the links of those cartridges, and that thing's gonna cycle it.
Dude, it was so good. Like my AG was so good too. Like my assistant gunner was
Yeah,
so fucking
I
good. Like he
remember
was Johnny on the spot the whole time.
was Ford, Brian Ford. Was
Yeah.
He's out of the army now. He made captain. He was artillery, I think. Branched artillery. But yeah, no,
It
he
was
was
funny.
good.
Like
He
when
was
we
good too.
it was funny because like before we went there, when we were doing train up, I was a saw gunner, right? And then on our deployment, because of where we were at, they were like, you need to turn in all your crew serves. Okay, so we turned them in. I carried an M4 in Iraq. And then we get back and they're like, you're a 240 gunner now. Because I was super good at the 240 in like pre-mob and like before that and everything like that. And so they're like, all right, now you're a 240 gunner. Like there was a punishment. And I'm like, cool. Like fucking easy. I love this thing. Well, you're gonna have to carry it. I know how to carry it. It sucks to carry because the pintle mount is right in the fucking way that where the handguard should be, but whatever, we can deal with that. But I know how to carry it. And dude, that thing was awesome. And it was funny because like towards the end of my military career, aka my 4.5 years, because I got medicaled out, we would go to ranges with all the new guys, and I called myself the PFCIC. I actually drew a diamond in the middle of my rank one drill weekend. It pissed our first sergeant off so fucking bad. It was hilarious. But like, so they sent me. They're like, because you're the only one of the only guys with the combat patch. You got experience with the thing. You're really good with the weapon. You're going to make sure all these guys get to the 240 range. They're going to qualify, and then you come back when you guys are done at night. I was like, okay, easy. And so we get there, and I'm teaching these guys how to use the 240. Like the way I use it, everybody's got their own style, but I use it in a way like I'm sitting here, and I'll aim at the target. I never use optics. I always used irons. I didn't like optics.
Really?
I didn't like the L-can. I didn't like the thermals were okay at night, but like it's heavy and it's shitty.
Oh,
It's hard to
they use batteries like no one's business.
Yeah, man. And yeah, you're not
Yeah.
joking. And
you got to
the
have
same way-
like a pocket full of batteries if you're running thermals.
my AG had to carry a fucking in that bag that the thermals come in. He had to carry like fucking 8 extra batteries. And
Yeah.
anyway, so anyway, I was telling the new guys, I'm like, all right, you guys want to get expert? You want to get your little machine gun bar on your expert badge or your marksman badge, or just wear an expert badge? All right, here's how you do it. I told them how to lean in because we didn't shoot from the tripod. We shot just light, so it was just from the bipod. And I said, all right, lean into it. Don't push on it, but like lean into it because it's going to hit back. You'll find a balance. And then I'm like, you got to make a A circle. That's what I do when I shoot. I start the first shots in the center, and then I go as you're shooting the gun. And you can use 3 rounds, you can use 7 rounds. It doesn't fucking matter. You're going to hit that damn target if you do a circle around it, right? And so they're like, okay. And I also taught them about the adjustable sights, the irons. I was like, when they say 500, flip this up to 5. When they say 8, flip this leaf up and slide the thing to 8. And then you can just aim normally and you'll hit it. Our fucking company, with all these new guys that were like, oh, the only time I shot it was like 20 rounds in basic, everybody got expert. It was fucking awesome.
Nice.
And so I'm sitting there and everybody gets done with the day qual, and I was like, okay, you know, I've got everybody written down, like, okay, you qualled this, good to go. We got a night qual next. And they're like, what do we do now? And I was like, see that tree line over there? Go disappear in there and fucking sleep until night qual. And they're like, when we get in trouble, I'm like, who the fuck is out here? It's just us. Like, nobody cares. Like, go sleep. Go get a nap, man. We're at AT. Or no, we're not at AT. We're at drill weekend. While this is going on, some fucking pogue from our Fox company, like some truck driver, some shit, lost a 240 barrel. How do you do that? I have no idea. But they lost a 240 off their back slung. You know how pogues like sling their weapons in the back? We never do that. It's always in the front. No matter what the fuck you're carrying, it's always in the front for accountability. So they lost a 203 tube. So our unit, everything shut down except our range and whatever other ranges were going on. Our unit was out there all fucking day searching for this missing 203 tube. And we're sitting there in the woods just sawing logs. And then all of a sudden you hear the tower go, you know, all right, night call. I'm like, all right, let's get this shit wrapped up. Let's go. You guys get over here, do this, do that. And then we're on the range. We get back and we're like, it was a pretty chill day. And then we get back and our guys are just like, you have no fucking idea what happened. And these fucking pogue pieces of shit lost a fucking 203 tube. And I'm like, man, it sucks to suck, man. Like that's unfortunate. Not my fucking problem. I'm going to sleep again.
Did you hear about all the stuff stolen from the reserve center in California? The Humvees?
No, I heard something about that, but not.
Yeah, that was my old reserve center. So those were, I'm sure I drove in some of those Humvees, and what shocked me was that they ran. Whoever it was.
The Humvee is one of the biggest hunks of shit. I don't understand the appeal. I don't know. Your experience may be different. We drove the 1115s, the up armored ones, the big fuckers. That thing is the biggest hunk of shit vehicle for the military I've ever fucking seen. It's like,
do you still have indentations in your knees?
I couldn't fit in the fucking dude. If I was a gib,
the best is to drive. You got to drive.
No,
if you're not driving,
I had to be the gunner. I had to be the gunner because then I could actually I had space to stretch the fuck out and stand up. I was like, I'd rather get shot than be cramped as a gib in the back of that fucking thing. Because again, I'm like 6'4" and I'm like a big dude, and I would have like my whatever weapon I had between my legs, and I'd be sitting like this. And they're like, well, if we take contact, you're gonna have to open up that fucking window. And I'm like, that ain't happening, bud. I cannot maneuver. Like I can't move. And so they're like, all right, well, you're good at shooting. You can just be the gunner then. And I'm like, fine, fuck it. Let's do it. And then so I just sit on that nasty strap, that canvas strap. And I'm like, oh, this is so much better. You know, and then seriously, that was my struggle in a fucking Humvee. Don't get me started on that fucking piece of shit. And then people who have never been in the military are like, oh, dude, they're so cool. I'm like, it's a hunk of shit. There's no room in it. It's loud. It's uncomfortable. The fucking seats sit way too fucking low. The thing drives like a fucking, it's insane how shittily that thing drives. You stop on the gas and it barely moves. You know, it's like, you just hear, you can't hear a fucking thing. The AC and the heat don't ever work. There's actually no heat in a fucking Humvee, right? So this fucking thing.
There's heat.
I didn't know about that because it must not have fucking worked. Jesus. Well, it's a hunk of shit. Like, it's this big blocky, and yes, you can flip one, by the way. So people are like, well,
especially
they don't
with the turret on them, they would flip.
Jesus Christ. It's insane. And then, because that's
fact,
why
right before I got to we got to Kuwait on this last rotation, someone flipped one and the soldier got killed and just they're just driving too fast. Yeah. Oh no,
Oh,
those
yeah.
up armor things will flip. Yeah.
Oh fuck yeah, they will. And there was one. Oh my god. Those. Okay. I don't have a really good relationship with the Humvee. MRAPs are cool. The few times that I got to go in those, but the Humvee is such a hunk of shit. So the turret, right? Because I was the gunner most of the time when I was, and then we got to Iraq and things changed. But like, I'm sitting there with a 240, right? Not bad. It's in the chicken plate. It's in the fucking pintle. We're good to go. It's mounted. Got the boxes sitting right here and down below. Everything's hunky dory. It's all good if you have a decent driver, but if you got a dumb retard infantry driver who just wants the need for speed, yeah, guess what? So we're driving, and this fucking dude doesn't even think I exist. Our driver, he's a fucking idiot. He hits like a huge, like I don't know, like a gulch or whatever the fuck it is. I'm sitting there holding the 240, right, as the gunner. I'm like, oh no. I'm like, well, do I kick him? Do I stop him? Our TC doesn't fucking stop him, of course, because he doesn't see it, and I see it because I'm up top, and I'm like, oh, and all of a sudden we go, boom, and then I lost control of the gun, and it went bam off the top and went boom, shit, right into my chin. I thought my jaw was broken. I bit my tongue. It was bleeding everywhere. And I start kicking him because I'm pissed at this point. I start kicking him in the back of the head. And our TC is like, what's going on? And I'm just like, you fucking, you know, and he goes, you stupid son of a bitch. So he's punching him and shit. And this guy's like, well, I didn't see, I didn't think it was that big. And I'm just like, God, you dumb fuck. I'm up
They
here,
probably
man.
couldn't see. Were the windows as cloudy as they were on ours? Yeah, you
Yeah.
couldn't see out of those armor
Well,
windows.
they're this fucking thick. Like,
Yeah. Well, I had a soldier lose 2 fingers. Now on this is my first deployment. And I would tell people I went over there with I had 53 soldiers, so that meant I had 530 fingers, right? And I came
Yep.
back with 527 fingers,
That's
which
not good.
is well, it's a 99.8% finger retention rate. So that's
Still
pretty
not good.
good.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
pretty good. So
you
for
kind
the
of want
OER
100%
bullet
finger
stuff,
retention, right?
yeah.
OER.
But it was
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, I
Yeah,
gotta
I
tell you, the
suppose.
best OER bullet was
I
one
got to take
time
a
I
piss
took.
really quick. Can you hold the thought?
Yeah, I got a piss too.
All
This
right,
will work.
let's take a piss break.
Piss break.
Yep. returned.
Willie, you coming here or you staying out there? Willie. Dog doesn't want to come back. I don't blame him. So
So you're
told
saying
me-
something about an OER?
Oh yeah, for my finger retention rate.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know those up armored windows that roll, and then they
Oh,
have
I
that
hate
little
those.
that little knob
the
that
D10.
locks
It's
it.
the D10.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
the knob was broken, so every time they would accelerate,
Oh, no.
the window would open, and
Yep.
then every time they would break, it would slam closed.
And those things weigh like probably about 80
Oh,
pounds.
they're incredibly heavy. Yeah.
Oh, fuck me. That's
So
that's so
you know
nasty.
where this is going. Soldier
Yeah, I know where it's going.
got his hand somehow out the window and then break, and that window went
Oh,
boom,
fuck me. That's bad.
smashed. Yeah. Actually, I lost. Well, no, he didn't lose his finger. He almost lost another finger on that
Did they
deployment.
reattach it?
Those they could. He did lose part. I'm trying to remember his name too. Who was it? It's a PFC. And the funny thing was, so they're just on the base, and this happens, and then they drive to the talk. Like they don't go to the TMC, they don't go to the aid station. They drive back to the company headquarters to ask me and first sergeant, what do we do? What do we do? And I'm like, we had an MTV, so we're like, no, take him to the aid station. But inside that Humvee, it looked like something out of Black Hawk Down, because the kid was just doing this in there. Like there's just blood.
I would have fucking thrown a tourniquet on that guy.
Inside that.
Dude, if you lose fingers, I would have thrown a tourniquet on that bitch immediately.
The other kid was this guy, Searles was his name. Good soldier, quiet, knew his shit, minded his business, never caused problems. But we had a Connex door that somehow had gotten dented or bent, and they're trying to like get the door closed, and someone thought it would be a good idea to take a forklift and like use the forks to lift up the door a little bit. And when the door was lifted up by the forklift, like up on its hinges about an inch, then they could swing it open and shut. So the plan was we use the fork, we shut the door, we drop the fork down, we lock it. Well, somehow this guy got his hand, he was wearing gloves, he got his hand in between the hinge of the Connex door, and then the fork slipped and the door went down on his finger and crushed his finger. Had to cut the glove off to get him out. We rushed down to the TMC, and there's no one there except a specialist, and we're like, what can you do? She said, I can't do anything. I can't do anything. I can't even give him an aspirin. We have to wait for the surgeon to come back, like full bird surgeon. Like, well, where is he? He's at Chow. And so Searles is sitting here.
Though?
Yeah. And he's sitting on the table. I remember him there. He's bandaged, he's holding it above his head, and he's kind of turned white a bit from the shock.
Oof.
And you can imagine the kind of pain. His finger has been like pulped.
Yeah.
And no one can do anything for him. I felt so helpless. Like, that
sucks.
Yeah, it did. You think on a base, because this is Kuwait. This would have been Kuwait in 2013 or 2014. I don't remember when, but Camp Buren had to be like 5,000 soldiers on the base. So it's not like an outpost or something. It's a big base. And
fuck yeah, it is.
Like there was no one on duty at the emergency
that's
TNC.
really shitty.
Yeah, and they can't do anything until they come back from lunch. And like, well, can you call them? Like, where are they at?
Run the fuck down there and
you
go,
know,
hey, there's an emergency.
Yeah, and I'm glad glad it wasn't life threatening, because if it's
No,
life
that's still an
threatening,
emergency though. That's
yeah. Oh
fingers
yeah,
bleed.
yeah,
Like they do not stop.
yeah. Poor guy. Yeah, that was the deployment we lost the fingers. But my middle deployment. Now this is how good a commander I am. So when most people are commanders and they deploy a unit, they're proud when they bring back all their people. Like, I
Mhm.
brought all my soldiers home safe.
Yeah.
I am so good as a commander that I came back with an extra person that we didn't deploy with.
So you got 101%.
101%. Yeah.
Who the fuck was that?
Um, I can't remember her name. And she never divulged who the father was either. Like, we asked.
Gotcha.
And
We're good. Yep.
Yeah. But
Yep.
came back with more people than I left with. You better
Gotcha.
believe that was an OER bullet. Brought 101% of my assigned strength.
Well, at least you were a good commander. I would have loved to have you instead of the
Yeah.
leadership that I had. But like, funny stories too. Like, here's the thing: is like I was kind of like talking recently with some other people about. Yeah, we could sit there and bitch about the negative shit because there is a lot of negative shit that goes on, and like it's really fucked up. But like, there's also a lot of funny stories that happen, and one of them, speaking of like a piss break, I was reminded when I was taking a piss in a gun truck again as a gunner, right? We're doing a gunnery table in Fort Bliss in Texas. We're out in the middle of fucking, I don't know,
Yeah.
it was called Donna Ana Range. It's out in the middle of fucking nowhere in the mountains in outside of, it's in New Mexico, but it's way out. It's like this little old base from like the Cold War, like the 50s. It looks like The Hills Have Eyes was filmed there. I mean, like literally tin shacks for barracks. They look like chicken coops. And I'm like, the fact that this place exists scares me. So anyway, we do this gunnery table, and I'm sitting there. I got the 240 again, and we're in line on the range, right? So we're like in our gun truck, and I'm standing up. I got my ammo from the ammo point and all that shit. It's loaded, or not loaded, but like it's good to go. And just waiting, and all of a sudden I'm like, I gotta piss, like really bad. Like I cannot hold this. Like I cannot. And there's an OC in the back of the Humvee gibbing, right? Just keeping score. Because it was like it's a very precise. I don't know if you've ever done a gunnery table. It's very precise. You have to talk to the tower. The TC needs to know everybody needs to know what the fuck they're doing.
It's elaborate.
It's very elaborate. It's very
I
stressful.
haven't fired one, but I've been part of coordinating one and planning one, and that, especially for a reserve unit, that is a lot of legwork. So yeah, I know, I understand that.
It's very intricate, very
and there's a time crunch too, because you're trying to get everyone through, and there's only so much daylight. Yeah,
exactly. Well, this was the day qual, because we did day and night qual, but this is the day qual, and I'm like, it's getting, the sun's starting to go down. We're one of the last guys to go, and I'm like, I have to piss like right fucking now. Like, and so I grab a bottle and I turn the other way because the OC's in the back right seat, right? So I turn to the back left seat, nobody's sitting in there. So I'm like, hey Sergeant, I gotta. He goes, go ahead and rock it. We're all infantry, doesn't matter. So I just, all of a sudden they go to the gun truck, whatever the fuck number we were, get up to the lane as I'm rocking a piss. So again, our idiot driver that fucking jawed me with my 240 just takes off. Like, he was either the gas was all the way down or it wasn't. And so he takes off, and I'm mid piss, so I'm pissing everywhere in the back of this Humvee. Like, I'm just like, I'm trying to pinch it off, and I'm like spilling it out of the bottle, and I'm like, you stupid motherfucker, what the hell? You couldn't, like, and I'm trying to cap the son of a bitch, and I dropped the cap, and I just chucked the fucking thing out of the turret.
Those are a lot of the stories and experiences that you don't have on the officer side, because once you're, and that was something I missed too.
being with the
was
Joes.
being with
Yeah.
the Joes and the smoke pit.
Oh, some of the best conversations you'll ever hear in your entire life. Yep.
I commission and then now my experience of walking out to the smoke pit is, and you know exactly how it goes. You're out there with the guys, you're at the smoke pit, which is enlisted world. That's it's because the NCOs kind of have their own smoke pit.
It's the E4 Mafia that runs the smoke
E4
pits.
Mafia smoke pit. When the freaking lieutenant shows up, like, oh,
you're on their best behavior, you know.
Best behavior, yes, sir, no, sir, 2 bags
Yep.
full, sir. Yeah, Roger, sir, Roger, sir. But
Yep.
it's all the answers are like short, yes, sir, no, sir. And then there's these awkward silent pauses where the read between the lines is go away.
We were just having a great talk about who
we
would
were
rather
having
talk.
a great exactly. And then here comes this lieutenant who wants to be part of it. Oh, hey guys, how you doing?
Exactly. Hey guys, how you doing? Yeah, I smoke too. Did you know that?
It was it was harder for me, you know, being an OCS officer as opposed to the ROTC nerds who never had that. They never had that smoke pit experience. They never had to do fire guard. They never had to sit in basic and you know, write down on that report, you know, if roster number 235 did a number 1 or number 2. You know, they didn't have that. They're
a suck.
They probably had something similar in the ROTC, but you're not like forced. You're not living with the same immature 18-year-olds day in and day out.
That's
smoke pit world. As I still miss that to this day. I miss that brotherhood that you had with the E4 Mafia, that junior enlisted brotherhood of it's just like you can't you don't really find it anywhere else.
It was very unique, and I do miss that. It's like,
it's unique. Yep.
You walk up, you go take a dump, jerk off in a porta shitter, and then you walk out to the smoke pit. And then that's just the way it is.
Yeah,
I'm talking as an enlisted guy. And you take a shit, you jerk off, and then you go out and you go, oh, hey guys. And they're like, hey, would you rather put a nail underneath your big toenail and kick a wall, or dive into a dumpster full of foreskins? Probably the nail. Well, what?
Yeah, these are not conversations that the officers discuss. Like, no, officers are like, what mutual funds have you found to be productive in the last quarter? Because I noticed in the last fiscal year that Charles Schwab mutual funds have outperformed, and the escrow rates are
swishing their canteen water, their MRE. Yeah. But like, our PL on our deployment was he was a Mustanger, so he was an E5. He was in the 101st as an infantry.
You probably liked him then.
He was such a fucking nerd, and I love that because there was so many nerds in my unit. Like,
well, I'm a nerd. Officers are nerds.
No, but here's the thing: is like okay. How do I just abbreviate this? It doesn't go on too long. Basically, I met him and I instantly just kicked off. Like, he's a Mustanger. You know, he was active duty, and then he joined the Guard, and then went to college, and then went to OCS, and then commissioned. He was also a way better admin officer than he was an infantry officer. He was a kind of chasing butterflies kind of infantry officer. And yes, LT, if you're watching, he retires in 04. But like, if you're watching, you know exactly what the hell I'm talking about, and you can't give me shit for it because you know what you did. 3 times. There's so many stories I have about him. He was a really good. He took care of us. That's the thing, is he put us first, right? But he smoked cigarettes and he dipped, and he whatever. And what the hell was I going to say? Oh, so we were in Texas. We were at Fort Bliss again, or actually Camp McGregor. It's in New Mexico, but it's part of Fort Bliss. But like, we're in the barracks, and I had introduced him to this bootleg game called Blitzkrieg, right? That I had been playing when I was a kid, and it's kind of an RTS. It's like, it's very fun. And so I get him hooked on it. I burn him I think it was on a thumb drive or some shit. He puts it on his laptop. He's at the end of the barracks. It's like dorm style, of course, with the bunks and shit. So I'm like tired as fuck one day. I was out at the range all day, and I'm sitting there. I just got into sleep. And I feel somebody like, hey. And I'm like, what? And I wake up and it's the LT and he's got his laptop and like the light's blinding me. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? I didn't know it was him at first because I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Who are you? And he's like, so I'm trying to get past the 3rd level on this one with the trench and the tank, but how do you get past this? It's almost impossible. And I was like, it was like the middle of the night too. And I'm like, LT, with all due respect, I'll fucking tell you in the morning. Please, I just need to get some sleep. He goes, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, okay. And he walks over. The next day, I was like, all right, here's how you do it. I was like sitting down next to him and shit. And then, in Iraq, he was also in the same area that I was, like sleep, his room and shit like that. And he would like walk to the showers with a bathrobe, like a maroon bathrobe, and he'd be like the Walking Dead. He was just like all the time, just could not function. He had to have coffee, cigarettes, and a hot shower in the morning before you could even talk.
Even when it's 126 degrees out, I had to have coffee.
Well, dude, I started making this shit a few weeks ago because one of my terps that we had in 09 finally made it over here a few years ago. He's living in San Antonio now. He's doing well. I thought he was dead for years. After ISIS took over.
I'm glad he made it over.
Oh, me too, man. Someday I might ask him to come on here, but he works all the time. But like he's a truck, like a semi mechanic. So like he works on big rigs. But no, he was me and him got along really well. He was only like a year older than me. So we were both the young bucks. Anyway, I asked him like a couple weeks ago because I was talking to my wife about this. I was like, we had this chai in Iraq that was like, it made Monster and Red Bull look like fucking Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood as far as being wired, right? And so I asked him a few weeks back now. It's like, what do you and your mom like buy? What kind of brand tea did we have over there? And he's like, he sent me the links. I got some. It's loose leaf. It's from Sri Lanka. It's really fucking strong. And then the ratio of sugar, I dialed it back about 80% because the shit that we had over there that the Iraqis would make.
Oh, they like it sweet.
Well, they like it to where you're fucking shaking, like. But so I was drinking about a liter of that a day in Iraq, and it was hot as fuck. But here's the thing: when you drink hot liquid when it's hot out, it actually cools your body down because you start sweating more. It sounds like counterintuitive, but that's why because the Iraqis never drank cold beverages. They would always like mix it to be at least like room temperature or like whatever. They would never drink cold, like shit that was iced. They would never drink that. And so we were drinking like hot chai in like 130 degree, 140 degree weather. And we were like, oh, we're actually not like dying. It kind of makes you feel okay. It's really weird how the body works. But anyways, I started making that.
Horrible.
Yeah. But I made it for my wife and like, she was like, this is freaking delicious. And I said, yup. And then I made it for my in-laws, her parents. And they were like, her mom's a caffeine hound. And I'm like, be forewarned, stuff's pretty strong. And she's like, well, I need caffeine because I haven't had coffee yet. And I said, well, if you want to try it, made it for her. And she's like, this is amazing. And she's like all wired and shit. And her dad is kind of like me, where he burned his caffeine receptors out over the years because you drink so much of it and then you stop doing it. It's kind of like an allergy. He has like a quarter glass of this shit. And he's like, this is delicious. But he's like, I can feel this coming on and I'm going to get the jitters like really bad because he doesn't drink coffee or like that. But like anyway, so the chai was like really fucking good over there. And we drank that instead of Monsters and we didn't feel as much like shit because there was less chemicals in there. It's just tea and sugar, and it was so, oh my God. And then I was talking to somebody about this today. Like, the American food always made me sick because we would, so we were at this place called Camp Cropper, which is the prison. And it was next to another fob called Camp Striker. And they would cook the food over there and then bring it in mermites to our chow hall, right? So this shit's like, you know what I mean?
It's congealing by the time you get it. Yeah.
So we always got sick. And it was always like chicken tenders and it's disgusting. So one day, like because we had a bunch of TCNs working for us, like serving the food and shit. They're usually from like India or Nepal, and they had like this Indian bar next to the salad bar which the salad always made me sick too. Wonder why. But so one day I was like, can we take this food or is this for the workers? And they're like, it's for everyone. So I threw some basmati rice, some pita bread, some fucking curry, and some vegetables on a plate. Went and sat down and ate it. I said, it can't get any worse than what's already been going on. Ate that. Solid shits. I'm like, huh, that's interesting. So I started eating Indian food. And then about like halfway through the deployment, I got pretty tight with like a lot of the Iraqi soldiers that we were working with. And they would bring us like chai, right? And then they're like, you like? And I was like, oh, that's delicious. And we were all just like, fucking, we're staying awake, because we're working like 20 hours a day, 6 days a week, something like that. And then so one time the Iraqi guy goes, just come with me. Ta'al. That's how you say like come with me in Arabic. And I was like, where? And he goes, eat. All right, fuck it. Whatever. And so I walk into this like tent that they've got. It's like a Jeep. It's like 3 GP mediums like smashed together, right? That was the Iraqi chow hall. And I'm like, what? I'm sick of like having the white knuckle diarrhea shits every fucking day. Like I'm fighting for my life every fucking day. I'm getting dehydrated. I'll try anything once, right? So go into this GP medium thing, and it's like a black dude walking into a KKK biker bar. Everything just there's like chatter and shit, and all of a sudden, boom, silent, and they're all looking at me because they're all wearing Iraqi uniforms. They're all Iraqi, and I'm the only US guy in there, and I'm like, Assalamu alaikum. And then the guy that brought me in there is like, Makamushkala, Inta Zien, or I don't know how you say it, but he said he's okay. And they're like, like just looking around. So I go up to the like their buffet, right? And I grab a tray, it's like a paper tray, and they start piling shit onto my plate. See, in the US military, this, they give you that, you have to ask for more.
And sometimes they won't even give you more because they say, no, we gave you the serving and that's all you get.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. No, they kept piling it on. And I said, I just put my hand up. I said, shukran. Okay, move on to the next course. I'm like, well, that's a lot of fucking rice, but it's spiced and it looks good. And so they put this stew on my plate. It's called tepsi. It's like eggplant, lamb, tomatoes, potatoes.
Yeah, they eat a lot of lamb.
Oh my god, it was anyway. So they pile this on, but I figured out like, okay, that's enough. Thank you. And then go on to the next thing: vegetables, cucumbers with like kind of a tzatziki sauce. Wasn't quite, but it was like similar. Go and sit down at the table. There's like hot sauce, pepper, and they've got their what's called hummus, their bread, their flatbread, on these tables. And I'm sitting down with a bunch of Iraqi soldiers. I'm the only U.S. guy in this bitch. And I just grab the bread and I start eating with the bread, like I'm watching all of them eat like with the bread, and they're kind of like, and all of a sudden the chatter starts, then it starts back up, and it's like kind of back to normal. Like, okay, well, this guy's okay. I took the first bite. I'm just like, oh my god, this is fucking delicious. This is so much better than our food, and I'm like, I'm gonna probably get sick of this and pay dearly for it. Nope. Solid shit. So I started eating the Iraqi food as much as humanly possible, and it was amazing.
Yeah, they would give me. They're incredibly generous.
Yes.
With and with the hospitality, like every time they were always trying to give me. They were trying to give me these little tiny thin long cigarettes that they smoked.
Oh, it was like the Virginia Slim wannabes.
They're almost like Virginia Slims, but
I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
they're tasteless too. So I was smoking Lucky Strikes, unfiltered Lucky Strikes.
Yeah,
and I would offer them those. And oh no, too harsh. But these little Virginia Slim things, tasteless tobacco. It's just nicotine delivery devices.
Yeah, it's like taking a hit out of a weed.
The breads.
It's like yeah. What?
Seeds. They would reach into their pocket and pull out like seeds and hand them to you. And I would always like put one in my mouth and go, because I don't want to say no and offend them.
Yeah. They also fuck with you. Like, let's not be like, they're not like they're not always like super generous. They like fucking with you a little bit, but they're not, it's not like ill-spirited. They just, if you put a seed in your mouth and it like burns or it's whatever, it's like they know because they're. I've
Well,
noticed
they also knew I was the boss, so I don't think they would have messed with me. Maybe my soldiers.
no, not like that, but like they'll still fuck with you a little bit, and they might not laugh in your face about it, but they'll go and be like, "Did you see his
Oh,
face?"
I'm sure they're talking to
Yeah.
themselves. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's
yeah.
fun. It's part of what the
I'd
fuck
be-
are you doing, Dolores?
Be
This cat is
sitting
out of
in
her
there.
fucking mind.
Well, it's a cat. Cats are evil. This is a known fact.
She's out of her. There. But here's the thing: is I was thinking about this, and I've thought about it for years. Is like there are two things that I've noticed in my limited but still pretty profound world travels. There are two things that bind all of us humans together. It's food and humor. That's my observation.
Mm-hmm.
That's my opinion. It's pretty fucking universal. And
I'd agree.
the food is amazing, and humor is funny as shit too. Because like, I think the best food I've ever had in my life was Turkish food in Iraq. Because we had a bunch of Turkish contractors coming down and building a bunch of shit at the prison, right? And it was funny because like their wives were back at their chews, cooking and like doing, providing for them and like getting things ready and all that stuff. So their family was actually down there with them, but they would actually be the ones that came into the prison. So they needed an armed escort. Guess who got tasked with that? They're like, yeah, you get to sit and watch these guys work for 12 hours a day with a rifle in the sun. And I'm like, oh, God damn it. Okay. Well, the first day I did it, we're sitting there and these guys are busting ass like I've never seen before. I'm trying to help them. They're like, hey, nope. Like you can't, there's a language barrier, but they're like, nope, we got it. We're good. Okay. So I'm trying to get in the shade and it's just the fucking sun is so hot in Iraq. And they bust ass like I've never seen people in the US work before in my life. They fucking go to town. And then it's noon. They drop everything in place. And they walk over. They're sweating profusely. There's old guys. There's young guys, and they go to one of the IDF or the indirect fire bunkers, right? One of the little fuckers that like fits like maybe 12 people in it, the concrete ones. And I'm like, okay, well this is easy. I can keep track of them. So I've got my rifle and shit, and just sitting out there in the sun baking. And all of a sudden, the one guy goes, I said, yeah, thank you, but he goes, like more aggressively. I was like, well, I would like to get the fuck out of this. I'll just sit in the bunker and watch him, right? So I get in there. They had a fucking spread laid out, man. They had a fucking spread laid out. They had a carpet with like dishes and shit and like food on it. They had peppers. They had vegetables. They had like a stew. And then they had this shit that I will never forget called Turkish pizza. They called it Turkish pizza. It was this like flatbread that's about, I don't know, 12 inches long and probably about 8 inches wide. It's the consistency of like a brioche biscuit, if that makes sense. Like a brioche buttermilk biscuit. It's crispy and flaky on the outside and soft and chewy on the inside. And then on top of that, they throw like this it's a salsa. It's like finely chopped food of like red peppers, green peppers, onions, tomatoes, a little bit of garlic, and lamb. Okay. And they spread it out on top of this fucking thing. And they'll throw it in one of those Adobe ovens that's like 1,000 degrees. They'll stick it on there. So it's just cooked to perfection. And then they've got this like bean stew. It's like a white bean stew with like vegetables in it and stuff. They've got cucumbers. They've got tzatziki sauce. They've got lemon juice to put on the pizza. And then they had a literal like tray of peppers, like hot peppers. And they invited me to eat, and I was like, thank you, but like, and they like, they're so hospitable. That's what you were saying. Like the Middle Eastern cultures in general are like, no, here, please eat. You've been out here in the sun too, but like, okay, so I was gracious and shit. I took a bite of that Turkish pizza after I put some lemon juice on it, and I was like, oh my God. Like this should be illegal to be this fucking delicious.
Well, and it's real food too. After you've been eating that processed garbage that they they
Yep.
fed us, and you finally eat real food. It's like, whoa, yeah.
Dude, and their wives made it for them. Like their families made it for them that morning, and they took it out and they had it with. Oh, it was so fresh. It was so good. Um, and then so we get done, and I'm like, okay, well, if you're gonna insist, like they keep feeding me shit, and this is where I learned in Middle Eastern cultures, if you leave a little bit of food on your plate, it's not an insult. It means you're full and that they've done their job. So I kept eating, right? And I kept cleaning my plate, and they kept putting food on my plate. I was like, my stomach's gonna explode, man. I'm gonna die, but I don't want to be rude. And so it was kind of a culture clash. And then finally I was like, I can't eat anymore. And they're like, oh, and then the peppers come out, right? Because they're all just taking peppers and they're just kind of eating them with their food. And I'm like, I like spicy food. I like pepper. At that time I was eating jalapenos and habaneros like plain. Like, because I like spicy food as well.
I would die.
Right. Some people can do it, some people can't. I happen to like that weird kind of pain. And I was also cocky that day. 18 years old, in the heat, in a fucking indirect fire bunker. I chose to go, hey, can I have one of those peppers? And they just went. And I said, here, give me one. And I grabbed one. And they're like, oh. And like a jalapeno, I put the whole fucking thing in my mouth. And as soon as I was about to bite, they all of them went, ah! And I went, and I was like, oh fuck, oh no. And it was like, I didn't want to look like a pussy, and like, but it was one of the hottest peppers I had up until that point. And I'm just like, my eyes just are watering. I'm sweating. It's in the desert and I'm sweating. It's like,
that just sounds absolutely miserable.
Well, but it tasted so fucking good. It was a delicious pepper. And
I have that like Northern European, like don't do spicy pepper.
Yeah. It's a real deal. Like my
I can handle onions. That's about it.
My wife's Norwegian. Like we looked up her the genetics and stuff. Mm-hmm. She's almost like 90% Norwegian, and so she likes spicy food, but she just it doesn't. Yeah, and
my great grandmother was actually both. Yeah, the Conradson was my great grandmother's maiden name, and they were Norwegian.
Yeah, there's a lot of Scandinavian people that came over here, but yeah, I think it is genetic because like I'm mostly French, German, and Polish. If you like, I'm just basically Central European, my ancestry, some Spanish as well, and but I don't know. I can just handle heat, I guess, and I don't know where that comes from, but like that pepper was fucking. But here's the thing: is you can't stop. You can't look like a pussy, and you can't because like I'm sitting there. I have a fucking rifle in my hand, I have an M4 in my hand, right? And I'm like, I'm a tough guy, right?
Yeah, I would throw it up. That would not be.
Oh no, I chewed it up. My mouth was my whole head was on fire, and then I just went, well, that was a red one, and I grabbed a green one, and I looked at him, and I just went. My mouth was already on fire. Like, how bad can you get?
Oh no, I'm super like people. Yeah. People sitting next to me using Tabasco affects me.
Oh no, that's bad.
Yeah, I'm incredibly sensitive. Yeah. Oh, you should see me in the CS chamber.
Well, that was a fucking that day.
I am so sensitive to like.
Well, there's some people, like their skin, like one of my friends, I should text him and see his story about the gas chamber. Hold on. My story I told today is kind of a weird one about the gas chamber in hey, come on. Ow, fuck, Dolores, come on. Was at Benning, you went through the same gas chamber that I probably did, the first one. The one on the left with the big tree. Out, like right when you get out, there's a big fucking tree right there.
I don't remember. It was at Benning.
Yeah, well,
I
I'm like an
actually have
elephant. I remember dumb shit, so it's like, yeah.
I have photos of it. They had some company there taking photos,
Yep.
and I have photos of it. I don't remember a tree. I do remember going out. We made an immediate left.
Left. Yep.
Yeah,
And they were
left.
screaming, "Go left!" Yep. And they're like,
Yeah.
"Flap your arms, flap your arms." The gas chamber was like okay, but the problem was the day before the gas chamber, I was fucking around with one of the dudes, another 17-year-old dipshit, and we were just like like play fighting. We weren't like actually fighting. There was no beef, but we're like play fighting, and all of a sudden he goes to throw a kick, and I went to go grab his leg and drop him on his ass. Right. Well, he pivoted, turned, he ate shit on the floor, and his brand new fucking heel of his boot went right into my nose, about 6 inches, above. All of his body weight went into my nose. I hear this crack, and then I can't feel this part of my face. And I'm like, oh, fuck. And there's blood, not dripping, spraying out of my nose. And I'm like, oh, fuck. So I go to the bathroom or the latrine, and I'm in the sink, and I'm just sitting over the sink like this. And it's just, you can hear it going. He's like, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I'm like, it's fine. I'm not mad at you. We should have been. So I'm sitting there, and he literally broke my fucking nose really bad. And all of a sudden, I'm sitting in the latrine, and I'm like, oh God, I just want this to stop bleeding. I'm trying to stuff toilet paper up my nose, get it to stop, and whatever. And all of a sudden, you hear, at ease, and I'm in the latrine. I'm the only one in the latrine, and I'm like, fuck. And so I'm like, what do I do? Do I go out there? Because like we're gonna do accountability. They're gonna see it. So I get out there, and I've got the toilet paper in my nose, right? And my face is already like swelling up. And I go out there, and I'm just like, well, I have to have the toilet paper in there. And I'm like, got my head back, and I stand on the line, parade rest. And they were like, what the fuck's going on in here? And our platoon guy, the Father Time, the old guy, is like, we're doing this drill sergeant, blah, 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 doing the report. And then he goes, who the fuck hit you in the face? I was like, I fell, drill sergeant. And he goes, you fell. I was like, Roger, drill sergeant. And there's blood running down the back of my throat. I'm like trying to talk through it. And I'm just like, please just go away. Like, please just go away so I can deal with this. And he's like, who the fuck hit you? I said, I fell, drill sergeant. I slipped and I fell in the latrine. And he looks at one random private. He goes, is that true? He goes, yes, drill sergeant. He goes, fucking retard. Carry on. And he goes, and I went back into the bathroom or the latrine, and I'm like, oh my God, it won't stop. And so anyway, this thing, like a couple hours later after the bleeding stopped, I could push here, and you'd see the bone popping out up here. And I'm like, oh my God. So I had two shiners, and my whole face was numb and everything like that. Well, the next day we go to the gas chamber, and my gas mask had fit up to that point. And so we go into the gas chamber. Yeah, and I'm sitting there, and it hurts like a son of a bitch putting that thing on, right? With this broken nose and shit. It's like the day after. So I'm like, oh, fuck. So I put the thing on, and I'm just like, ouch. I'm like, okay, got a seal. It's not bleeding anymore, but it like fucking hurts. And then, so we walk in there, with our rifles and our shit and all that stuff. And as soon as we get in there, I'm like, oh, this did not seal. Because my face is so swollen that it didn't seal. And I'm just like, oh, shit. Oh, fuck. And I'm trying to hide it because I'm like, oh, God, it's just like this anxiety and the stress of like, I don't want to go through this again. I don't want to fuck her guys over. And I'm just like, oh, God. So I just go in there. I'm taking like really shallow breaths. Like, I'm trying to like, as they're not looking, I'm trying to seal it. And the smoke, we were on the first one, so the smoke was very thick.
Yeah. And
I'm like, oh. And then they're like, all right, break your seal. What's your name, rank, and social? And I was like, okay, maybe I can get the seal on this one. I'll try it again. I'll just push harder into my fucking nose. Nope, there's a little bit coming in, like around here. And I'm just like, oh, fuck. And I'm just keeping quiet. And all of a sudden they're like, all right, take your mask off, throw it in your left hand with your K-pot and your rifle in your right hand or whatever the fuck order it was. And I'm like, okay, let's just get out of here. Let's just get out of here. And people are starting to, choke. And my buddy, Aaron, loses his fucking shit and starts doing like the and they're like, you better pull your shit together because you're keeping everybody in here. And I'm like, no, just fucking let us out of here. I'm dying. I've been in here for like 5 minutes straight breathing this shit in. I can't do this anymore. And he's just like, and like, calm down. So they get him calmed down. It takes another couple minutes. It felt like a fucking eternity, of course. And I start dry heaving. And I'm like, no, God, I didn't eat a big breakfast that day because of advice from people before. And I'm just sitting there like, oh, please just. And all of a sudden they let us out. And I'm like, we run out. And that's where I remember this tree. That's where this comes up. Is like, drill sergeant is sitting right in front of the door going, go left, you fucking idiots. Go left, flap your arms. I pushed him out of the way and I ran over to this tree and I hit the tree and I let out the biggest retch I think I've ever let out in my entire life on this tree. It was like, ah! And then they grabbed me, they're like, get the fucking line. And I'm like, okay, I feel better now. Oh God.
That's gotta be the worst gas chamber story because everyone's gas chamber story is the worst. Like, no, I had it really bad, man.
Oh my God. It was just like, what are we doing here? What is happening right now?
That is the worst.
Oh, and then I had a fucking headache. I mean, it cleared out my sinuses like everyone says, because you're always sick too. Like, oh my God. Like, I was just like I had a black cloud following me around in basic for the first few weeks. And then it like went away and it got better. But like, oh my God. It's like my nose gets completely fucking shattered. And it never healed. And then they found out it was my birthday and that I didn't tell them. A couple weeks later, my nose had just stopped like popping out of place. And they were like, oh. Because I got a happy birthday card, like, a week later or whatever for my actual birthday, which was 8 days into basic. And so they're like, when was your birthday? And I'm like, this is when it was, drill sergeant. And he goes, why the fuck did you tell anybody? It's like, because it's not
never
important.
Tell anyone it's your birthday.
My 18th birthday, right? Yeah, it's my 18th birthday. And I'm like, because I don't think it was important, drill sergeant. He throws the letter, hits me in the face, and he goes, birthday beatdown, everyone. And I'm like, oh, fuck. So I ran into the latrine and I slammed the stall door shut and I was just like cowering on the toilet. And all I remember is a garbage can lid coming over the top going, hits me in the fucking nose, re-breaks it. A week later, I'm just starting to feel better. And it's like, why am I here again? This is retarded. Like, this is stupid. I can't do this. And I mean, it's just it's looking back at it, it's funny now, of course, but like when you're going through it, it's like, what the fuck? But yeah, I mean,
it takes the cake.
Yeah, that gas chamber thing is like, that sucked ass. Like, had I not broken the nose, it would have just been like everyone else. It's like, yeah, it sucked. And, my buddy freaked out at the end, whatever. But oh my God, they made a dude go through there twice though, because they didn't like him. The second time they were like, don't wear a mask. So I'm like, oh my God. But anyway, basic training stories are fun. But like, yeah, it was, I don't know if they still do they do the gas chamber the same way they used to? Like where it's like,
I don't know how they do it now.
But they go, is there anybody watching who's like in the military, like currently, like, and enjoying the past recent years? Because like, I wonder if they still do the whole, like, you go in with your mask on, break the seal, pop it back on, and then go out. Because that's how it was for years, like since Vietnam, basically.
Yeah, I know. We brought our rifles in.
Yeah, so did we.
Yeah.
Yep.
Rifles and helmet.
Yeah, rifle, helmet, and then because you had to have it in a certain hand to get out of it.
And we also had to latch the helmet, and you couldn't drop anything. You couldn't leave anything behind. Otherwise, you didn't go. If anything's on the ground, like someone dropped their rifle or their helmet, you don't go.
Yep. And that, did they make you do like the I think it was your mask and your K-pot in one hand and your rifle in the other. I don't remember which hand it was, but like you had to have it.
I think the rifle was in one hand, mask was in the other, and the helmet was on the head. And it had to be, so when you took your mask off, you had to take your helmet off, put it on your rifle between your knees, take your mask off, put your helmet back on, buckle the helmet, then walk out. We might not have had to buckle the helmet. I seem to remember in the photo my helmet's not buckled, but you had a mask in one hand, rifle in the other, and we're all running out. But
I
you
could also be
couldn't
remembering it wrong because I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
it was. I'm pretty sure it was helmet and mask in one hand, rifle in the other. But it could have been we were wearing our helmets. Like,
And it could have
who
just
knows?
been a different company doing it a
Yeah,
different way. Yeah.
That detail I don't remember, but I do remember the fucking walking in there immediately and going.
I remember going out and going left, and then we went to bleachers, and that's where they
Yes,
had us like
the
recover.
class. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you had the class about like the what the hell were they called?
Oh, I had a soldier, I had a sergeant playing with one of those, inject himself in the hand. That was a fun day.
What the fuck, really?
Yeah, he's just playing around with it, and then I guess they're super sensitive.
Holy
Shot
shit,
himself
man.
with atropine in his hand.
Atropine, yeah. Oh man, that's fucking nasty. Like that shit'll.
Yeah.
Ugh. But yeah, it's fun times. Like not really. I won't say it's fun times, but it's just like the fact that like a lot
It's
of people
fun
went through
looking
that.
back on it, having gone
Yeah,
through it.
it's
And
like
then it's
holy shit.
such a common experience too.
Yeah. Especially at Fort. I'm glad you went through Benning because it's like
Benning was good. I am glad for it not being co-ed, because it's basics
that
hard
was
enough without um
the
it just
distractions. Yes,
seems it's a
I know what you're saying.
distraction, and things
Yep.
seem to get a little more complex.
Well,
It
when we
was
deployed, we had there was a bunch of pogue chicks attached to us. Like they were trying to like integrate. It was like the idea of integrating women in the infantry slowly. And so we deployed and we had, I think, 7 or 8 chicks who were pogues. Yeah, somewhere around there. And 2 out of them were like good and they're like, I cannot do your job. It fucking sucks. I can't ruck that much. And like, hopefully we never get into a bad situation. But we're like, hey, we got your ass. The other ones were just like, oh, there was a couple that were like, I am a woman to hear me roar. Like I am the infantry because I am play with an infantry company. She actually sounded like that. I'm not shitting you. And we're like, no, you're not. Like you can't do fucking anything that we've been doing. You guys have been support and like observing what we're doing. Like you guys didn't do the ruck marches, you didn't do the 14 miler, fucking carrying. You didn't do that. But like, okay, your job is valuable. Like this, the one chick, she actually she went to walks and she's a warrant officer now. I haven't talked to her in since like 2010. Or no, I
That's
saw
not an
her.
easy school.
No, but she had her shit squared. She was supply. She had her shit squared away. She was never one of these people that was like, I'm basically infantry. She's like, no, your job
Well,
sucks. I just want
that's all we ask is to be squared away. That's it.
She was so good at her job. Like when she was asked to do her job or like something related to this, she did it to the best of her ability. She's like, this is all I have. We're like, cool. And then, but with supply and stuff, she was fucking phenomenal. She was nice. She was witty as shit too. She could take shit and give it back just as hard, which I respected the hell out of. You gave her shit. She was like, you're going to pay verbally. And we're like, oh, damn. Love it. But she could take a lot and she was really cool. And we didn't care that she was a female, right? And we're like, it doesn't really matter if you're not being a twat about it, right? It's like you have your job.
All we want is you to do your job.
Do your job to the best of your ability. We're doing our job to the best of our ability. That's the reciprocal kind of understanding. And there were two females that did that, and they just didn't. There was no shit talking about like we can be infantry, It was just we're doing our job. That's that. There were a few that were just like sleeping around constantly, and the one was sleeping around with everyone. And I never took part in that because but what I'm saying is my point is like it does create cohesion problems in the unit because okay, so and so sleeps with so and so. They think that they've got something going, and it's going to happen when they're back. And then they sleep with another person a few days later, and then it creates problems among the infantry guys. and leadership. And just
it adds complexity.
well, especially when
especially
they're
in like
sleeping with leadership, they're sleeping with
especially
enlisted leadership.
in like basic training. Like I'm
Right.
glad it was just guys. It was simpler. I think there was
Yeah,
one less thing you had to worry about.
Absolutely, and that's the thing is like
Yeah,
people are like, well, women should be in the military. I'm like, but you've not been in a situation where that problem that's created can cost lives, which it has. And it's like, I'm not saying women can't do it because they can. Like I just said, there was several who were like,
right.
hey,
I think what
good.
we're saying is,
Yeah.
if you meet the standard, you meet the standard.
There you go. If you meet the standard,
Yeah.
you meet the standard. And it was like, I mean, the one chick I was telling you about, the supply chick, she just one day in Iraq, she just got up and was like, I'm gonna go run a half marathon. Like it was like a unit thing, like a multi-unit thing. She just goes, no, she did PT, but she didn't like train for it. She went and she ran a half marathon and placed in it with a bunch of different units. And like she just did that and didn't seek any recognition for it. I was like, hey, so and so, like that's fucking awesome. Like you're fucking awesome. I gave her a high five and shit.
Mhm.
And then I mean she was really good at being in the military. And so was the other one that we were with that I actually went to high school with. She was a grade ahead of me. And then we ended up being in the same unit. It's funny as shit. But like
we were
like she got attached to us.
Caged animals though in basic, because every like 2 or 3
Yeah.
weeks, one of the other companies would graduate.
Oh,
And then they have their family day.
Yes.
And then you're like on week 9 in basic, right? And you're looking out, and then like you're in formation, getting ready to go off, do whatever training you're gonna do, and it's family day for the other unit. And so everyone's girlfriends and sisters and even moms. The Defac ladies were kind of looking hot by the end of basic training.
A normal 2 becomes a 6.
Yes. And so when you're this caged beast,
dude, we
basic.
I was in 254.
And it was summer too. So I was 357. 357. So I was well, April through June, I was in basic at Benning. So
yeah,
June, it's summer weather, so they're in. Oh my gosh!
We're in. We got there. We got there August 5th, and we got out of reception on August 20th, 2008. And we got to Charlie. I was in Charlie 254, so right on top of the hill outside of reception. What used to be 30th AG. Like we marched to our basic. We didn't take buses or cattle cars. We marched.
Yeah, we bussed. We were on Sand Hill.
Yeah, well, yeah, we were all on Sand Hill, but like it's like so 347's. Where the fuck is that? That's like, is that the other end? Were you like down by like the range road, like where you go out there?
Yeah, we were down by the range road.
Oh, okay. See, we were right out of reception, so we were like right fucking there.
Yeah.
And one of the graduation fields was right below us. And so they would have like, because we had like Echo, Fox, and Golf companies during the surge, like they built Connex like things outside of the satellite buildings. And so I think it was whatever, it was within the first week. We had our wall lockers kind of sideways, perpendicular towards the wall, and then the windows were open so we could have airflow and shit like that. And then our bunks were out by the kill zone. And then there was a family day, and we're sitting there like getting our wall lockers and shit unfucked and like getting our gear ready and all that stuff. And all of a sudden I look down out the window, and I'm looking at a great pair of tits in a very low cut shirt right below me. And I'm like, I went to my battle buddy. I was like, hey, dude, check this out. He's like, oh my God. And then all of a sudden they're like, what are you looking at? And I'm like,
nothing.
And all of a sudden the fucking bay like went all over to one side.
We had the exact same thing happen in my company. And then the drill sergeants come in because there's like this crowd. It's like an anthill crowd all piling up around this window.
Oh my God, Tits! Oh my god! Oh, she's wearing a mini skirt. Oh my god! Look at those shorts. They can't get any shorter. And the drill sergeants come in. They kick the fucking because they know what's going on.
Of
And
course.
they kick the door open and they go.
I
"Draw
wouldn't
the
put it
fucking
past
line!"
them to go out and tell them to walk back and forth in front of this window.
Probably, and we're like, because we're on the first floor. We were in first platoon, so we were on the first floor above the CTA.
Yeah, we were first floor.
Yeah, and we're just like drooling and not doing what we're supposed to be doing.
Because our windows were high. Like
ours were about 3 feet off the ground, and then they were big.
Ours were high. Yeah, you had to almost be like, you had to almost climb up on the top bunk to look out the windows. The windows were up.
Well, I'm tall, so and they might have been taller than I remember. Because like I just looked down and I could see right down, and I think I don't remember how tall they were, but we were in one of the old satellite buildings from the '60s, Charlie 254.
No, and we were in our barracks were new, like only a year or so old.
Oh, the ones they were building when I was there. Okay. So
yeah,
you were down. You were down.
They were brand new, which was not a good thing because everything was so clean. We had to keep it. That everything was new and clean. So if anything got dirty or scratched or anything, it was noticeable.
Well, my barracks were it was funny. Like after that day, like we got long story short, they came in, they kicked the door in, all three of them came in and go the fucking line. And we were like slipping in our own sweat with that smoke session, like on the tile floors. Like, because our tile floors had divots. You could tell we're like 50 years of guys who have been getting the shit smoked out of them. I'm not shitting you. Like, you don't believe it. Like I'm sure if anybody was in Charlie or any satellite building, there are divots in these fucking tiles where you've seen 50 years of where guys have been doing push-ups. And so when you start sweating, you start slipping. And then you slip out and it's like, get the fuck up, you fat fuck, all that shit. And I'm like, oh my God. And so we paid dearly for that, but it was kind of worth it. And then they made us flip our wall lockers along the entire, so we couldn't have access to the windows. So the wall, I mean, it actually made more sense space-wise. It was actually easier in the long run, but like we flipped our wall lockers from being perpendicular to just covering up all the windows and stuff like that against the wall. And then our bunks were, it was fucking hilarious. So yeah, you guys were in those new ones.
Yeah. Oh man, they were barracks.
Dude, they were that's another thing during GWOT. Like I was talking to another dude on my Discord the other night. He was Army for a bit and then he went Air Force, but like I was saying that during GWOT, like I think 2 of the drill sergeants in our entire company did not have a combat patch and like a CIB or a cab. And I'm like, apparently that's changed. And because we had all infantry drill sergeants except one that was a cab scout, but he had deployed twice and he had a cab and he had a Purple Heart and shit. And so our guys were like fucking mean, like fucking vicious. And they fucked with you. And the sleep thing we were talking about earlier is like, our junior was he was in first Mardiv in the invasion of Iraq, got out, then joined the Army again, went to 10th Mountain, deployed again to Iraq, and then he was an E5 because he walked out on the first day, right? And when they're screaming, they do the shark attack, and I just gotten onto my little line on the CTA, and I'm sitting there holding my shit or my duffel bags on the floor, but I'm holding all my shit. And he comes walking on. He's probably about 5'4" or 5'5". He's an E5, and he's got a 1st Marine Division combat patch on. And I'm like, oh no, that's not good. And he comes up to us and he looks at us and he goes, all right, ladies, here's what's going to happen. Just like that. All right, ladies, here's what's going to happen. You're going to take this and this, and you're going to put your duffel bag and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh no. This is not good. This is not good. And then all of a sudden somebody's, he's like, all right, put your duffel bags over your head or your laundry bags or whatever the fuck it was over your head. And, we're sitting there just, he goes, keep your fucking elbows straight. Just keep them straight. There won't be any problems. Just fucking follow directions, Private. It's not that fucking hard. And, everybody else is just getting screamed at and he's talking to us. And I'm like, that to me is more scary than somebody screaming at you because you expect that.
Yeah. No, I had Senior Drill Sergeant Hausner never screamed.
And that's terrifying. It's like, because you know they're going to punish you in other ways. That's the problem. Is like they don't care about the screaming and the whole show of it.
I would have enjoyed it. That's one thing going officer route, you would never have the chance to be a drill sergeant.
I would have hated that job, man. I mean, it would be fun to like, watch people and like teach people how to
it would be incredibly hard because you think about it.
Oh, they sleep less than
Drill
we do.
sergeant, they sleep less than you do. Yep.
Yep.
And they're on the trail for like 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years, I think. Yeah, because I think they did like 6 cycles or some shit like that. And it's because like at the end they like when they in gold phase, when it's kind of like you're just cleaning shit and they weren't really screaming at us. They would talk to us. They're like, if they ever send you to drill sergeant school, try to get out of it because it fucking sucks. And but yeah, like he walked
They
out.
gotta send them somewhere to learn the jokes though. Like, how do they teach them to be that funny?
Well, the thing is like all these guys were infantry, so they
were all freaking hilarious. You can't laugh at what they're saying, but
dude,
they're so funny.
They're fucking hilarious. Like
they're absolutely hilarious.
They're
you want to laugh so hard you can't laugh.
Well, no, the one thing they always like I could not keep a straight face is they didn't call us like dicks or anything like that. They'd be like, "Hey, shut the fuck up, penis." I would lose it every fucking like I would laugh. There's no way I could. And I just started just doing push-ups when they called somebody penis. I could never get over how fucking hilarious that was to me. Like, why would you call another grown person a penis in a serious manner? Like,
because you can't.
Well, I don't know why, because dick apparently meant dedicated infantry combat killer or some shit like that, or they were like trying to like, because on the first day after we got done with the shark attack, we were up like sitting. Oh God, this is another thing that you're gonna find hilarious. So I got an Article 15 2 days into reception. I got a company grade.
Reception. Wow.
So
I assume it was a summarized Article 15 that you accepted.
It was a company grade with no loss of rank, but I lost half my first paycheck.
So did you have to come in multiple times over the course of this Article 15, or did you just go in once and done?
I filled out a report or a statement or whatever, and then I reported to the CEO of that reception company in 30th AG once. So yeah, maybe it was a summarized. I don't know. They said it was a company grade, but like it could have been just summarized.
Oh, that's still a company grade. So they knocked Article 15s out in my basic training company too that were like that. And then I came to find out that because you don't know any better, you're a freaking E1, E2, you don't know any better. You're in the belly of this beast. You just sign on the paper. Technically not, unless I could be wrong. There might be an exception for initial entry soldiers. Like maybe you don't have as many rights.
What I did is it was I went psychotic because I hadn't slept in 4 days and I hadn't been drinking water. And I ended up very long story short, I made a video on this a while back. I should make another one and go into more detail on what. So I didn't sleep the night before I went to MEPS, and I didn't sleep at MEPS because I was so fucking nervous. Because I ended up having to go to basic alone. I was going to go with 2 of my buddies, and I ended up getting held back because I was 5 pounds overweight, which is fucking retarded. But like, so I go down there alone, and I'm so nervous. I hadn't slept in almost 4 days. They gave us a Camelback, and I said, well, they didn't say we could fill it, so I didn't. I ended up like losing my vision, right? Like we were marching, I could function and everything physically, but like I lost my vision, and I was like, oh shit. And I had like a psychotic thing where we were just about to get to our barracks and sleep for the first time in like 2.5 days, and I grabbed my shit and I just went into one of the barracks buildings that were empty, and I threw my shit on a bunk and I passed out, and I had a fever dream. And it was like, I don't remember what the hell most of it consisted of, but like, I convinced myself in that dream that, oh, I can't function as a soldier because I'm tired and I'm blacking out. And so I need to get the fuck out of here. And it was like, I was unconscious and I got up, and it was like that. Remember the ending scene of Gladiator when he's putting his hand towards the door?
Yeah.
There was a fire alarm in front of me. and I pulled the fire alarm. And I woke up, my hand was still on it, and I was like standing up. And I was waking up to a drill sergeant screaming at the top of his lungs in my ear. And it sounded at the time like he was just going, "What the fuck are you doing, Private? What the fuck is your fucking problem? Get the fuck up. What the fuck are you doing? What the hell is going on?" When he was like literally screaming at the top of his lungs. And all of a sudden it was like kind of like the Tom Hanks tinnitus scene where I kind of came to and I was like, "Oh, fuck." And the fire alarm's going off. And I'm like, "Oh, shit." And he grabs me and he goes, "Get the fuck outside." And so he throws me out. Everybody's got to do accountability formation. They had just laid down for the first time in 2 days. And now I'm sitting in front of everybody. I'm sitting on the ground, and everybody's like, "You fucking fat piece of shit retard." Whatever you want to. You can imagine it. They were screaming it at me. The fire department shows up. The police show up. Everything's fine, except for me. And then I'm like, "Oh my God, what the fuck? What is going on?" And the drill sergeant goes, "I'm Article 15 at your fucking ass." And I'm like, "I don't know what that means, but okay." And anyway, I came to, and so he gave me a crazy vest, one of those like orange like suicide watch vests, and he puts me in his office, and I'm just like, he's like, "Go fucking sleep on that cot," and I'm just like, this is my second day in the fucking army, right? Not good, not a good start. Should have known then. And so I'm sitting there, and I'm just trying to get some Z's to like not be psychotic. And every time I get to sleep, there's somebody walking in, and he's screaming at somebody. So I'm waking. Oh my God. Anyway, so end up getting through. We were in reception for 2 fucking weeks because there were so many people down there. And so end up getting the Article 15. He's like, "I'm not the OIC." He wasn't a captain. He was a first Louis. But like he goes, I'm not gonna demote, because I was an E3. He's like, I'm not gonna demote you, but I'm taking half your fucking paycheck. And I was like, "Yes, sir, I understand," blah, blah, blah. So I was like, turn around, and he goes, "Hey, Private." And I turn around again, and he goes, "Keep your fucking hands off my fire alarms." And I was like, "Yes, sir." And I walk out and salute him again. And then that was it. Like, it was done. And then, but it was done until we got to our unit. And so the first day we're sitting there, we're like sitting, Indian style around the kill zone. After we're doing our intros, right? And they're like, I'm Private so-and-so. I'm from Wisconsin. I'm did this. I'm a National Guard, blah, blah, blah. Everybody goes around. The drill sergeants introduce themselves, and they're like, "Yeah, anybody have a fucking problem with swearing? Because if you fucking do, I don't give a fuck. We're not supposed to swear, but it's part of the fucking infantry. So welcome to fucking Fort Benning." Okay, that was cool. And then they're like, "All right, who in here has an Article 15? And every fucking head that was in my reception
looked at you,
looks at me, and they're like, and I just went, "What?" And the Marine, he goes, "Stand the fuck up, parade rest." And I'm like, lock it up. He goes, "What the fuck did you do?" And I'm like, I pulled the fire alarm in reception drill start. And he goes, "Oh, that was you?" And I was like, day one, I'm on the fucking radar, like on the radar, big time. He goes, "Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll be fucking watching you." Day 2 comes along, or no, this is day 3. And we have been up doing 75% fire guard and full battle rattle all night, right? One squad sleeps for an hour. You know how that goes. And we're just fucking exhausted. And we're towing the line, and I'm standing there. I'm just like, just the Walking Dead. And people are just screaming at each other. And I'm like, "Shut the fuck up, everyone. Jesus Christ. They just want to see how well we work together under fucking stress." And everybody's like, "Shut up, Bert. Shut up, you fat fuck." They're using my name. And I'm like, "Well, what the fuck? Like, I know how this works. Like, it's a fucking game, guys. Like, you got to just play it." Like, okay. Interesting, right? So next morning at PT, we get out there, and we're in our PTs, and again, just the Walking Dead. I'm sick as fuck at this point too, by the way, as everyone gets. I had like strep throat, a sinus infection, all the above.
well, they just you got that cocktail of shots too.
And there's people from all over the world that like, they're all in one place at one time. It's like, Jesus, man. But like, so we're at a PT formation, and we're doing our thing, and I'm just like dying. I need sleep really bad. And I hear the Marine go, "Where the fuck is Private Birch at?" And I'm like, "Oh God, no, please, no, just leave." "Oh no." And I'm like, "Here, drill sergeant, And he goes, oh, there you are. Oh, yeah, it's you again. Yeah, well, a little birdie told me that, this is all just a fucking game. We don't have to listen to the drill sergeants. This is all just a game to see how well we work together, and blah, blah, blah. And, we don't have to listen to them at all. And I'm like, who ratted on me? Like, why would you do that? And he's like, oh, okay. Well, if it's just a fucking game, here's what's going to fucking happen. You just saved the fucking platoon from 75% fire guard for the rest of the fucking cycle because you're on 50% fire guard for the rest of the fucking cycle. You alone. And I'm like,
yeah, so you were the one on the radar.
Immediately.
Because there were like 2 or 3 soldiers. So a couple of them in mine had like attitude and they quickly got on the radar. They did not know me.
That's good.
So
that's the way you need to be.
Exactly. I just put my head down. I did everything. Didn't make any way. I was always just exactly squared away, perfect. When they would get mail call and they would get letters,
Who was this guy?
For Gibbons. It's Gibson. Well, there was no Gibson. I just knew it was me because there was Gibson, and they would like frisbee the letter. Like if you're in the way, it's like gonna slice your ear off. The way
oh my god! People got hit in the eyes. Yeah. Oh my god.
But Gibson, here, drill sergeant. Yeah, had no idea. Had no idea who I was.
It was the first couple weeks were really rough, and then after that, like when we went to the call range and they figured out that I'm a really good shot. They left me the fuck alone, and I stopped fucking up too.
Well, they did mess with me a bit because I went in as an E4.
Yeah.
And so they kind of gave me a little at first. They're like, "Oh, you walking years? It took me 5 years to make E4 twice, stuff like that." And you walk in on day one. It's like, you think you're better than me? You think they're better than I? No, drill sergeant. It was just playing with me. And then by like 2 weeks, they had forgot who I was and didn't care.
Give a shit. Yeah. It's like, they fucked with me really bad because I think they thought that I was going to be like a problem child because of that Article 15 because they didn't understand what happened. And it's like, I'm struggling with PT a little bit and I'm fucking tired. So I was on 50% fire guard for like 4 days and I started walking into walls and shit. And so the guys in my platoon were like, hey, we'll just don't tell anybody, but you just need to sleep tonight and we'll cover your shifts. And because I was like, because I had to be, so they made me with the 50%, they were like, you need to be in PTs while you're in your rack. And then when you're on fire guard, you need to be in full battle rattle. And I was like, this sucks. Like, and so they wake me up every hour or every other hour for like 5 days at the beginning of basics. I'm sick as fuck, tired as fuck. It's just screaming nonstop. And then at one point, like I was sitting there. I just went over to my bunk one time on fire guard, and I just went like this for like a second, fell asleep standing up, and like ate shit. I fell backwards onto the guy next to me, the guy on the bottom bunk, and I wake up to, what the fuck are you doing, you dumb fat fuck? Get the fuck off my bunk! And I'm like, oh shit, dude, I'm sorry. Luckily, I had my helmet on because I would have fucking hurt myself. But like, that was that, and then another guy fucked up, and then he got it, and I was like, okay after that, and then it's like,
you just have to wait long enough until the eye of Sauron looks at someone else.
Well, and the rest of the cycle, it was actually fine. So I'm kind of glad in a way that I got it out of the way immediately, because it was like, okay, like we're done now. Like I'm not going to be a problem child.
This guy named Johnson. We had 2 Johnsons.
That's a unique name.
And he just had so much attitude to us and to the drill sergeants. We're always getting smoked because of him. So we had a thief too. So what we would do at night, so on fire guard, is the fire guard, if you left your laundry bag lined up outside the laundry room,
you get your
the fire guard, they would rotate the laundry so that in the morning your laundry's done.
Yep.
So, but several weeks in, I'm noticing I only have 3 pairs of socks left. And then I'm like, hey, Garvin, did my socks get mixed in with yours? He's like, no, I don't know where my socks are going. And I'm like, where's all of our socks? And everyone was like, we're all missing socks. And we're like, where's our? And then do the next load of laundry, and now we're down to like one pair of socks. Like, where are our socks? We couldn't figure this mystery out
It's irritating.
until we had a surprise inspection. Drill sergeants come in. They're like, open your lockers up. Everyone, open your lockers up. When we come up, open the lockers, and mine was pretty squared away. It wasn't perfect. I wasn't expecting anything. And I'm like, oh shit, they are going to destroy me because it's not all perfectly squared away. And then this one guy like opens his locker, and it's like something out of a cartoon or out of a movie. An avalanche of socks comes pouring out of his locker. I guess he must have been one of those people who like are impulsive thieves.
Hoarders of certain things.
He just had to steal. He had to accumulate things, and it was our socks. So when he was on fire guard night, he's switching the laundry and like taking a pair of socks from everyone's laundry bag, and he had like 150 pairs of socks
Did he get
in his locker. Up? Oh yeah.
He just got destroyed. Yeah.
Dude, it's again, these are stories. Two pairs of socks.
These are stories that you really can't experience anywhere else. Like, it's insane. Like, the
like these people exist. Yep.
And the also the you learn a lot how to barter with people and like make deals behind the scenes with like nothing, right? Like, you remember? Did you guys still have hua bars in your
We did have hua bars. I was never really a fan of the hua bar.
Me either. So I was always the one thing they did let us keep, which is weird because like we got fucking destroyed in many other ways. They always let us keep our candy out in the field with MREs. Not caffeine. We had to turn in our coffee, but they let us
turn in the coffee and the candy.
Most people did, and for whatever reason, our unit, our rotation.
In fact, they had a story about the candy.
Ooh, damn. That was
we were doing like the first aid course, and then we'd eat lunch. So we're all, Indian style, back to back, right? Yep. Eating our MREs. And drill sergeants catch two soldiers sneaking Reese's Pieces.
Yep.
And what they did is they had the soldiers that like fell us all in, and then they brought the two soldiers up with the bag of Reese's Pieces, and the drill sergeant. This is why they're just so fun. How do they think of this? I don't know, but he says, "I want you to enjoy your Reese's Pieces. I don't want you. You have to finish eating them, but I don't want to rush you. So what each of you are going to do, you're going to take one piece out, and you'll put it in your palm, and then you're going to put it in your mouth, and you're going to chew it slowly, and you're going to go, while you rub your tummy.
And did they drop the rest of you guys, or just?
And they dropped the rest of us, while each one of them, one at a time, is eating one Reese's Piece. Put it in their mouth. And so we're pushing. We're like, "Oh, you're dead. Oh, when we get back to the barracks," and they knew it too.
Oh yeah, like that's not a good spot to be in. Is when you're getting the example made of you and everybody else is dropped. You're fucked then. Like that is the worst.
Yeah, we had to sit back to back, and we had to throw out any coffee, any of those milkshake drinks, any sugar, any of the candies, the chocolate covered coffee beans, which were my favorite.
I don't think we had those.
Yeah, from time to time you would get chocolate covered coffee beans in your MREs. I don't know if you do anymore.
Yeah, I hated those fucking
but
things.
all the candy.
Yeah, they would do that to us too. Like you sit back, or no, we would sit in a triangle. What the hell do you call it? Formation. But yeah, we'd sit back. Like we'd be facing out in the what the hell is that called? Where it's a triangle. It's been so long, dude. Where it's like you're pulling security like you do out in the field, an ORP or some shit like that. I don't know, but like no, we'd do that, and then they would just have two privates. Put the MREs in the middle of the triangle and then just throw out whatever. Oh, that's a funny story I just remembered. There was this one guy who's a fat, roly-poly ginger dude from California who wore BCGs, right? Short guy. His last name was Donald. And he was just what you'd expect, right? And he was also National Guard. They fucking hated National Guard, myself included. And so the first time we get MREs, he gets thrown one. What does he get? He gets the bomblet, right? And he goes, "Oh, I fucking hate the fucking omelet. This thing sucks." It's like, you should have just shut the fuck up, because the drill sergeant, who's a Marine, because oh, what the fuck did you just fucking say, you fat roly-poly fucking piece of shit? Okay, all right, well, all right, you don't like the omelet, the cheese and veggie omelet. It's very nutritious. So you need nutrition, it looks like. So for the rest of the fucking cycle, every time we have MREs, you are getting the omelet, and everyone else will enforce that. Mark my fucking words. And he just looks at it and he goes, "Yes, drill sergeant." He goes, "Eat your
That one
fucking omelet."
was rancid, though. The
And
omelet
he's
was,
like, and he also said, "You cannot heat it up under any circumstance." We never heated up our shit anyway. But he's like, "Under no circumstances will you heat that fucking thing up. If I see you heating it up, you're gonna fucking pay." And I'm like, and this is like day 2, I think. And we're like, "Oh no!" And I'm just like, I'm just gonna shut the fuck up, you know. And so every time we had MREs, they said it's required that Donald gets the omelet. By about week 10, every time we get MREs, you just see him go. He'd like bite on the scone, you know, like just depressed. We're like, "Hey Donald, you can have my side, you can have my, you know, this and that." Like, here, we would just like, it's a charity case. He's just like, "Oh God."
I
And
hated the bread.
the wheat snack bread.
Yeah, I hated the bread.
You can trick yourself into like, because like I think one
You
of
have
my
to
favorite
crumble
ones,
it up into like the stews. That's the only way to.
you can, or
Yeah.
what I did like with the meatball marinara is I would make 2 slices of pizza, because it came with pizza seasoning, and you throw on the wheat snack bread, you throw the meatballs and marinara sauce, which is disgusting, and then you put the cheese spread that comes with it, the regular cheese spread, or if you got fancy, you could trade for some jalapeno cheese spread, which always made it better, but good luck. And then throw the cheese spread on there, and then put the pizza seasoning on top, and it's field pizza, right? Before they had the pizza, MRE, and that's what we used to do. And I was like, "This is," you trick yourself into going, "I'm eating a slice of pizza right now. This fucking sucks, but I'm eating a slice of pizza right now."
You know, I'd never understood. So the Defac that we would go to had the desserts, it had all the ice cream, it had all the stuff that we're not allowed to have.
Yep.
And they marched us right by it. And I don't even know why they stock that in the Defac.
Well, it's for the cadre. It's for the drill sergeants and the cadre. It's not for you.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, because they had like because I mean, obviously the drill sergeants have to eat and the cadre has to eat as
Yeah,
well.
I guess that's
So-
true. They got to eat.
Oh,
We
dude,
would sit
chow.
down, and then so you never. So someone had a good idea that we're going to put a piece of fruit on every soldier's tray at every meal, and so they would like give you an orange automatically. You didn't even ask for it; it just got put on your tray or something.
Yep.
You don't have time in basic training to sit down and peel an orange.
But if you
so
pocket
would
it,
go
you're
for
fucked.
you can't take. Yeah, you just.
Yeah.
So it all went into the trash. It's just the nice fruit that the taxpayers bought went on your tray, went into the trash, just like a conveyor belt, just straight into the trash. And the drill sergeants would come along. You sit down. You're sitting down for about 2 minutes, and I remember him. He would take his hand and he would just go, on the tables, and everything would jump. And he's like, "You're fucking done." And it didn't matter if you had put 2 spoonfuls in your mouth or you'd been there for 5 minutes. When he slammed your table, you're done.
Dude,
and that's it. You get up, put your tray away, and
that's
you
why
go.
I'm saying like Fort Benning was. I'm glad because you went through pretty close to after I did, and Fort Benning was like. I know the Marines are all going to be like, "Oh, look at MCRD, suck a dick." I know we get it; it's stressful too. But like Fort Benning is because they had the tables with 4 people. We did at least. I don't know if they carried that over with the new barracks. You'd have 4 people at a table in the Defac. And
I think there were more than 4 at a table.
Okay, well, we had 4, and then so you go through. I always got like light meals because I was trying to lose weight, and I lost like 70 pounds in 3 months or 4 months, which is fun. But like, so I get like 2 sandwiches. I get a big salad. Eat it all with a spoon. I get a bunch of like veggies and fruit, and then we had to take a bran muffin every fucking meal because fiber, right? We were forced to. They're like, you will fucking take it. And so Yeah, it's like for breakfast, I would just get like 3 hard-boiled eggs. I learned how to peel an egg really quick. You just roll it on the table and then pop it, pop the 2 sides off. It works very well. I'd have oatmeal with peanut butter in it. You get really good at opening up ketchup packets and shit like that with your teeth. You just go, but also don't look up at the chow table. You always looking down at your food, because there was one time I was like exhausted, like mouth breathing. I'm just like kind of zoning out. You know that look. You've done that.
Yeah.
And you're just like, and all of a sudden, my drill sergeant goes, "Your whole fucking table's done." And he did the slap thing. He goes, "Get the fuck out of my chow hall!" And the other guys were like, "What? And I'm like, "Oh my god!" And we also couldn't sit down until all 4 people were at the table, right? So you had to wait for people. You put your tray down. You throw your rifle on the floor with your sling around your boot, because they would come by and snatch your weapons if you didn't.
No,
And
we
then,
had to do something called chow sling our rifles. So we would sling them onto your back when we would go in. Yeah. Yeah, it's called chow sling. And then did you have to send in a drink detail?
yes, for milk
Yeah.
and Gatorade and all the other shit. Yes,
Right. Yeah, we had to send
2
in like
guys.
a 4 to 6 soldier. We had to send in several.
It was 2 guys from each platoon, so it
Yeah.
was like probably 6 to 8 guys. And then that was actually not a bad gig.
Yeah,
'Cause
I
then you got,
actually didn't mind because then you're in the AC a little bit
yep,
longer.
yep.
And then you can drink as much Gatorade as you want or milk and stuff as you want when
Well,
you're
yeah,
in there.
you just look around
You
and you
just
go,
can't get caught. Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's did yeah, because the Gatorade that they had there was super salty, because it was just like basically hydration salts
Yeah.
with some fruit punch flavor. But the milk, I actually, because I'm from Wisconsin, so I fucking loved milk, and I would just sit there and go, and I'd put the glass out for somebody else that I just drank out of.
My grandfather told me. So he grew up Great Depression and he was drafted in the peacetime draft in 1941. So before Pearl
Yeah.
Harbor, we had a peacetime draft, and then he was one of the, I don't know how many people, just unlucky enough to get drafted. And he said what amazed him, like when he went to basic training, is going to the chow hall. He said, it's as much chocolate milk as you can drink in the
Yes, it
army.
is.
And for him, for like, Arkansas depression boy,
Yep.
growing up with, you didn't have chocolate milk.
Oh, hell no.
He
No, you
gets
barely had milk.
drafted in
Yeah.
41 and he's
Yep.
in the army, and you can just take your glass, walk up and drink as much chocolate milk as you want. And that to him was like mind blowing. He's like, I thought it was great. You can have all the chocolate milk you can drink.
You know what has really fucked with
Yeah.
me since Fort Benning, actually, is those bagged eggs, those scrambled eggs. I literally love them so much. Like,
Really?
oh my god, because a lot of things you're just like, that's not good.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but like the texture, like the fluffy,
I
shitty.
I never liked them. So those are UGR eggs.
What's that?
It's so there's different levels of rations. So like MREs are like your field, but if you're somewhere where you can actually set up like the MKT, or you can
Yeah.
actually cook, the UGRs are, and there's refrigerated version, there's not refrigerated, there's different classes, but it's pretty close to real food. And even the Defacs will use basically the UGR bagged
Yeah.
eggs. Yeah, I'm
Well,
not
it
a
just really
fan.
makes more sense. Oh yeah, and I don't know why. Like, isn't that crazy that like most people that I'm like, oh, this fucking sucked.
Ugh.
But I don't know why, if somebody like,
The bacon though, the bacon, so we'd go do PT, like we would go run,
yeah,
and then we're marching back to the barracks after like an hour and a half of running, and you smell the bacon coming from the chow hall. Oh, so good.
their bacon was never. I'm a fucking
Yeah.
snob when it comes to bacon. It has to be made perfectly, and rarely
Oh,
was
I
it.
didn't care. I
Oh
didn't
yeah,
care.
a lot of people
It
did. There's like
was like,
bacon,
just
fucking give it to
pile
me.
it up. Yeah, give me the
Yeah,
bacon. Yeah.
yeah. It was.
It
It's so.
smelled
Oh,
so good.
and at Benning, like at the very end, like I had lost so much weight. That the drill sergeants, I was still eating like skimpily. They're like, we're in gold phase. You can eat whatever the fuck you want. They're like, just go ahead and do it. And so I was like, okay. So I would get a huge thing of scrambled eggs and biscuits and gravy at Benning. Holy shit, were those not bad?
Well, they better know how to do biscuits and gravy down there.
Yep. And it was always like the prisoners that were on work release. Remember that? It was like, next man.
Yep. Next man.
Come on, next man. What you want? Come on, next man. Just like it was, and a lot of times like you couldn't tell if it was a dude or a chick, and you're like, yes, ma'am. I'm sure. Oh shit,
yeah,
dude. Sorry.
Some of those people. Yep. It wouldn't surprise me if you had the same. That was a good. Yep. Next man.
What you want, next man? Come on, next man. We ain't got all day. Come on, next man. Yeah, that's one of those things. It's like one of those little shitty details. If somebody says, "Yeah, I went."
Did you have to sidestep in the chow hall?
Yep,
Like you couldn't. Yep, you had to sidestep.
And then you go down the buffet like the salad bar. You go down one way, and if you go down the wrong way, there was a dude that was like he was from Atlanta. He was like an inner city Atlanta kid. He was a very poor kid, and he had a rough fucking start too. He's going down the wrong way, and I remember I was sitting at the table like waiting for the other three guys, and I'm standing there at attention with my rifle down. Like we just had to put our slings over our boot, and that's it. So it was different, whatever, different company, different time. And so I'm standing there waiting for the other three guys to get there so I can sit down and start eating. And all of a sudden he's walking down the wrong side, and I'm like, Brooks. He didn't hear me, of course, because it's so fucking loud. And he's going down there, and all of a sudden our senior goes up to me and goes, "Hey buddy, come on, high five, buddy, come on." And he's like, Joe Start, I don't know. He goes, "Come on, high five, come on, right here." And he takes his one hand off the tray, and the drill sergeant flips his fucking tray into his face. Goes, "You're going the wrong fucking way!" And I was just like, "Oh, I saw that coming. Oh no!"
Oh, the poor Defac workers must have hated that.
Well, no, he made him clean it up, and they're
but is he really going to get it all?
Like, I know they're not going to get it all, and
and then they're going to have to come mop the floor, and like,
dude, but just the sound of the punk hitting him in the face, and shit, I'm just like, again, why the fuck am I here? This is ridiculous. Like, the people who see movies about like boot camp and basic training, it's so watered down. It's about 10% of what it actually is.
Yeah. And it's not the screaming and the rage that is
it's
really
the mind games. It's the mind games.
So OCS, when I went in 2011, yeah, was less screaming at you. Of course, you're an officer candidate, so you're a aspiring gentleman, right? You're not really getting screamed at. Yes, I'm going to receive commission officer. Yes, oh my goodness, this cannot possibly happen.
Yeah,
but it was the mind game, like ratcheted up to anything beyond from I experienced in basic. It was the whole thing was all mind game.
Yep. That sucks.
It was really everyone I went to that OCS class with, and I'm still in touch with several of them. In fact, one of the recent videos I did with my friend Ryan, he was in OCS with me. That's how I met him.
The volley fire one?
No, that was the Whitworth one. We're shooting.
Okay,
Whitworth.
that volley fire video was fucking awesome, by the way. That was sick.
So I'm there's a plan afoot to get 30 or more guys on private property, and we're going to shoot at steel targets.
That's going to be loud.
Yeah, it's going to be so awesome if we can make that happen. I'm thinking like 400 or 500 yards. Put out all my steel because I have 4 foot square. I have 4 4-foot square steel targets.
Well, and also I think I was that in the Magic things or like on the group chat on Facebook, like for Reveille, we did we captured sounds like placing microphones at certain distances and different locations for that to capture it. And they're not that expensive. I think we used like
okay.
So I mean, like, if you want to get into that, because
I
here's the thing
do.
with this-
I'm looking for like an external. So the cameras or the microphones rather I've been looking at are like for bird watchers who want to capture birds chirping. And I figure if it
Sure.
can capture a bird chirping, it probably can capture the sound of a bullet going by.
Yes, going by. But here's the thing: is
Yeah.
you're going to need different mics, most likely. I mean, I can actually, I still have our sound guy from Reveille. I can just contact him. And see, he already sent me the link, so I
Yeah.
can just go back. But like for the actual impacts, you're going to need something that can obviously do a little bit more decibels because that's going to be freaking loud.
Yeah. Steel was going to be very, yeah.
And also like at the
It'll ring that
firing
steel
line.
like a bell.
Yeah. And also at the
Yeah.
firing line too, it would help to have higher decibel because it's more clear then. And then you can have different angles. And then the guy who was just on, Nate, he's a really good sound guy as well. So
Yeah. Well, I do all my videos on this phone.
yeah, I do all my videos on my
Yeah.
phone too. So like
So
yeah.
it for what, so I had a little GoPro out there, and then I had another iPhone that's like an iPhone 9 or something was,
Right.
and it can't be too close to the target because I'm afraid of hitting it with a bullet, and I don't want
Spalling. Yep.
to.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, the spalling will fuck it up. That's not good. But like, I mean, there's ways to do it. Like we just rednecked a bunch of shit for Reveille, and a lot of our sound, some of it got fucked up, of course, but like, we figured out how to capture the sounds of the weapons themselves fairly well. And we had, I think we had the one mic, we had the boom mic was behind me. And then we had a mic set up at like 50 yards, and we were shooting at like 100 or 150. But you can just spread out the distance. You can just get a few more mics. You only need one row of them, really. And you just kind of put them at different distances, and then you line up the sound in like some editing software, whatever you want to choose. But like, it really it'll be able to like clarify and like show people how when it starts slowing down and it starts dropping and shit, and then when it does hit the target.
Yeah.
It's an eerie sound, like big caliber guns like that. Oof.
Yeah, the bullets are going so slow too.
Yep.
That's why we had to shoot at 300 yards, because if your target's closer to the gun, you're just going to get the muzzle noise instead of hearing the bullet. And I really want to hear, and those things, they are like zoom. Yeah.
Well, it's like basically like shooting a freaking 20 gauge slug.
Yeah.
With more velocity, and
yeah.
It's I mean it's an insane amount of power.
Yeah, you can hear them going over. Those guys marching into that, because
Do you mind if I play that? Do you mind if I play your most recent volley fire video?
Yeah, but I do gotta go pretty quick. I got drill in the morning, so I gotta be up at like 4:45, and I'm an hour ahead.
Shit.
You can throw it on for a few minutes, and then
all right, we'll do that.
I'll call it.
Maybe I gotta take
like
a pee
5
break,
minutes.
and then yeah, we'll just call it. Yeah. Let's see. Present. No, God, they changed this all up. Share screen. All right, can you see that?
Yeah.
All right. This was so cool. I'm not gonna play the whole thing. We'll just do it.
Hey!
Who's going to do the orders for volleys? You are. Oh, shit. You're the one who showed up in stripes. My private company.
In most of the videos on this channel, I do a lot of talking about history and context and things, but it's Christmas today, so we're just going to shoot at 300 yards out here in the snow, which is kind of appropriate for today. We're all shooting the historic U.S. Burton Mini cartridge, except for Brian, who had to cheat and use infield cartridges. But shooting offhand, standing at 300 yards in the snow, is pretty challenging, especially firing volleys on command. And even that took us a while to figure out. We're a bit of an awkward squad here. But the sound of the bullets slicing through the air at 300 yards, just a bone-chilling sound. And finally, Even the bullets that will hit low, you'll see them bounce up into the target, which is why Civil War officers so often told their men, aim low, aim low. It's better to bounce one in than shoot over the top.
Yeah, it was a bad volley.
We're gonna pretend that didn't happen. We're gonna start over.
I was supposed to edit that out.
That was our fouling shot.
Fouling shot. Okay. And remember, gentlemen, you're aiming for the targets on the left, not the right. Aiming for the 4 targets on the left. Balls tight. You're barrel 5.77. Yeah, not big, but not big. Just wait for it, right? Down. Yeah, no question. Did you hear all the simultaneous impact? Really? Yeah, it was like,
You going to the ready, Joe, or?
Ready. Aim. Fire.
Yeah, it's fucking terrifying even with
Yeah.
this video.
And it's something you don't think often about is the bullets that hit low are spraying
skip.
all that dirt. And so you can imagine even if you're not getting hit by bullets, having all this gravel spray shoot up into your face.
That's lethal. Or it's debilitating at least. It'll take somebody out of the fight. Yep.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was the little rocks and things that are getting kicked up by the bullets are going through the targets.
It's the same concept as like artillery. Yeah. Like it's not necessarily the frag and the concussion that can get you. It's the rocks and dirt and roots and shit that it also sends out. It's like anything
so
becomes
you can really understand why they were telling the soldiers to aim low, because it's if you're shooting over their heads, that's wasted fire. But if you're
scary, but yeah.
And then when they hit the ground and then they tumble and bounce. So now the bullet's this jagged, deformed mess, and it's still moving at 400 or 500 feet per second. Oh, those guys.
Yeah, that's nasty. When are you planning on doing that?
As soon as I get confirmation that the property owner is cool with having 30 strangers come out to his property. This guy's in New Jersey. The farm is in New Jersey.
Sure. Yeah, that sounds like a fucking awesome idea because
we'll do like, because 6 guys, that's not a company. That's some of the comments on that video are hilarious. All the critics.
Everybody's an expert.
And then we get a lot of reenactors saying, "Oh, you didn't do exactly the right drill command." It's like, well, we're live fire nerds. We're not like some of us reenact, but not all of us reenact. And we're not shooting blanks. We're shooting live. And you're right. We didn't quite do the commands.
And also, neither did they.
Correct.
Just throwing that out there. You know.
Yeah, I'm sure the drill manual went right out.
It's like
are you doing battle drills exactly the way you do in training as you did in
no fuck no. It's always subjective, and then it always is like, oh shit, this is not what we expected. But no, I won't be able to do it in time. Obviously, I'd love to do it, but like I'm putting together a second Wisconsin B company.
Okay.
So I have to get I'm doing it piece by like one piece at a time, like the old Johnny Cash song. Because the Lorenz that I have to get costs more than most of my modern firearms.
Yeah. Are you getting an original or the repro?
Oh, repro. I wouldn't shoot an original. Like not because I think it's unsafe, but I wouldn't want to like. I'm not good at cleaning firearms, and I don't want to like do any more damage to an original than.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I'll accept that. But the repros are not. I mean, they're the only game in town for a repro Lorenz that's actually rifled. There's the Loyalist arms, like the people making them in India and Canada. I think they're smooth bore. They're just for blanks. So
no, and that's
Yeah, Pedersoli is the only game in town, and they're $1,800, and they're not
There
good.
you
They're
go.
not. They're not right.
Can they be made
they're
right?
they can you can send them in and have them what they call defarb.
I know. I'm
Uh,
a reenactor, so
but
yeah, I get
the
it. But like,
the rifling will never be right, and unless you send it. So unless you send an $1,800 gun into someone like Hoyt to have the barrel realigned with the correct rifling,
so there's no good repro, is what you're saying.
there's no good repros. Another
But a fucking
option would
original
make
is $5,000, and I can't.
no,
do
they're
that.
not. No, the originals. I can't touch the gun because we're live streaming, and that would.
Yeah. Correct.
But
Thank you.
I'm looking at it right now on my rack. It still has the price tag on the buttstock. I think it's 1,400, and this one has a mint bore. It's a Anna Pesterlin rifle. So my Lorenz rifle was made by a girl.
Cool. As long as she made it right, who gives a fuck? Yeah.
She owned
Yep.
the Austrian factory, but my other Lorenz was bored smooth because in Europe there's a different set of laws for rifles.
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
rifles can be used for evil sniper stuff, but a
So
smooth
you're
bore
saying
is
that you know where to get something in that price range that's original.
yeah, but you can get one with a smooth bore barrel, which is quite common, or an original barrel that's shot out. And
I would want
corroded.
a rifle barrel in the best
Right, but
because I want to hunt with it too.
you take one with a bad barrel or bored out smooth, and you send it to Bobby Hoyt,
Okay.
who's right down the road from me in Fairfield, maybe 30 minutes away from me. And
Yep.
he has a machine shop, and he has all these original lathes, rifling machines, everything. So what he will do is he'll take your barrel, chuck it up on this machine. He will drill out your barrel.
Okay.
So then he will take a modern steel liner that is rifled to your specification. So if you want it to be made exactly to the Austrian spec
Yes.
with the progressive depth rifling in it,
Yes.
so it's deeper at the breech and shallower at the muzzle, he'll do that. He'll make it exact 4-groove rifling, 5,000s at the muzzle, 20,000s at the breech. And then he makes this liner.
It's good to have connections. We'll just put it that way.
Yes.
So when
And
I
he
go to get
charges
one,
like $200 for that.
okay. So I guess what you're saying is that my best option to be as accurate as possible and still like have a functional rifled musket is to just get an
It might
original
be
and have
cheaper.
him.
It might be cheaper
I
to
just want it to
buy
be
it.
correct. That's it.
Yeah,
I
it
don't.
would be cheaper and correct at the same time.
Okay. Well, then that's good
Yeah.
news because I bought a fucking a Hardy hat. I just a couple weeks back. It's about
Okay.
6 months out probably.
Yeah, I'm carrying the Lorenz for Bentonville in March.
Yeah, I'm decided like because I'm Civil War is not my forte, of course. That's why I'm
Yeah.
always learning, and it's good to have connections.
Civil
Like,
Wars. So, do you have the absurd politics like in World War II, like we do here?
the what?
Do you have like the reenactor politics? Like reenactors are eating each other alive, like the different
Oh yeah,
cliques and
I don't reenact
factions.
anymore. I don't reenact anymore. I haven't reenacted
It's
in years.
so stupid right now. I don't know if you've so right now it's I call it Rammergate because there was an event scheduled for August, Cedar Mountain, and at one point, so you got the mainstreamer guys, the guys with the Velcro shoes and the
Yeah.
Dockers.
Yep, I got you. Yep.
Who they're just awful. They were going to go do their own mainstreamer thing as part of this battle, and it's a regular conventional reenactment. So you got the public in the stands watching what they're told is what the Civil War looked like, when in reality it's pretty.
That's why I
pretty
didn't
far
like
off.
reenacting. It's because I did World War One. Okay, and so I did World War One.
Yeah.
I did the unit that I was actually in, but like just 90 years or 100 years prior, and I just wanted things to be as correct as I could possibly get them, and then be able to know about it and teach people about.
Yeah.
This is what it actually looked like. This is how it would have gone. More than likely, from what we know, it's not like I'm a fucking. I wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it. So like, I'm not going to say that. Oh, this is. I'm not going to speak on authority of like this is what happened. And it's like, no, this is what we've read and what we've
Yeah.
heard from
I
people.
think that's everyone's goal too. Is
Well, no,
even
a
if
lot
you're
of
the
people's goal in reenacting, I've noticed really quick, is they want to be an authority, and they want people to go, what I say is gospel, and that's that. There's no room
true,
for
yes,
questioning, and that's irritating.
yeah, you get a lot of people in reenacting. It's you take it so it's grown men playing dress up. It's
Yes,
what it
that's
is.
exactly what it is.
It's grown men playing dress up, and then the one group of grown men playing dress up says, "We do grown men playing dress up better than you,
Yes.
and therefore we are somehow we can feel superior because we play dress up better than you." And now that I'm really boiling it down to the bare bones, because
Oh, I'm aware. That's why, again, I don't reenact anymore.
the progressive units or the more authentic units do look a lot better. Like their drill is, because they actually invest time in it. It's they go to the next level. They do look really good. But the hobby right now is all a buzz because the campaigners, like the super authentics, were originally told that you will be allowed to use your ramrods at the reenactment of Cedar Mountain, while the
Yeah.
mainstreamers, the guys with the Velcro shoes and the Robert E. Lee belt buckles and things, they can go do the conventional Civil War reenacting where you don't draw your ramrod, you just pour the gunpowder
Sure.
in.
Yep.
Because if you
Yep.
forget the ramrod in the barrel, it's going to cartwheel, and
Hurt
they don't
people.
go very far because they're really heavy and they're not aerodynamic. So it's not like, a longbow arrow shooting 300-400 yards. It
No, but it
goes,
still can hurt somebody, and because one or two
it
people got hurt. Yeah.
certainly
Mhm.
can, especially if you're close.
Yep.
So the authentic people, which have better drill, who are more than likely going to trust each other not to shoot a rammer at each other, they were going to use rammers, and then the mainstreamers were going to do their mainstreamer thing. And then somehow, somewhere, the event coordinator between the state of Virginia is involved. They're taking over the site. They're like, oh, liability monster, we don't want that. Like, no one can do rammers. And now and so a bunch of people said, well, we're not coming to this event then. Like, if we can't use our ramrods, then we're not going to come. And
Oh, it's been similar in the World War I thing, and I just, that's why I don't do it anymore, is because it's, and I've also seen that there's certain people in the hobby. Okay, I'll just lay it down like this: about 5% of the people that I met in the hobby over the years. Last time I was at an event was August 2023. 5% of people are fucking phenomenal people, and I like to talk to them, and I'm still in touch with them, right? Amazing people. 95% of people need to grow the fuck up. That's my opinion.
I think the hobby just attracts that. Again, you're playing dress up, you're playing make believe, and you end up
That's
kind
the
of,
thing is, and
yeah.
people don't want to admit that. They're like, no, I'm honoring veterans, or I'm honoring history, or it's like, you're playing dress up, and it's fine. You can do that. You're free to do that. It's cool. I like doing it.
I can't wait 100 years from now when people are doing GWOT
Oh,
reenacting.
really quick, because I know you have to go, man. But like,
Yeah,
there was
I gotta go.
so about 10 years ago, I think it was like around 2014 ish. There was this group on Facebook called Living History Show Your Impressions. I have since been banned from both of them.
I can't imagine why.
I was kind of a dickhead back in the day, but still am to an extent, but getting better, working on myself. But like, so I posted my buddy Mark, who is a Desert Storm vet, right? He posted a picture of him in his chocolate chips with an M16A1 with a 30-round mag and jungle boots, and his Pasget unbuckled in Kuwait in 1991, right? Mark was in Desert Storm. He was there. He said, because he and I were talking. We might have been drinks involved, who knows? But like, we're like, I wonder what they would do if you said, "Hey, this is my Desert Storm impression." he posts that picture. Oh boy, didn't take long. Yeah, they didn't wear jungle boots in Desert Storm and blah blah blah. And you should have an M16A2 and your chin strap buckle should be snapped, whatever the fuck they said. Just all these corrections. He goes, oh, thanks. I'll try to improve it. And then we were sitting there talking. We're like, these people really just don't fucking get it, right? And so I posted a picture of me in Kuwait, not even Iraq, just Kuwait, right? Before we went up north. And I said, yeah, I this is my OEF 2009 impression. I had a bunch of truckloads of sand trucked in for the background and try to get a flat spot on a beach. Tell me, is everything okay? What can I improve on anything? Yeah, this is wrong. They didn't wear it like this. They didn't wear it like that. You do this and that and all this other shit. And I'm like, okay, so I get it now. Like, these people are so easy to
you'll never be good enough, and you'll never be correct, and they will always have to be smarter and better than you. Yeah. So when you're looking for
to attract those kind of people, which it's
when
unsavory.
You're looking for a reenactment unit, you want to find the one where it's the guy who draws the short straw has to be in charge, so that it's like you don't have the guy who wants to put the rank on and have his fake rank and fake authority, and I am the captain, this is my company, I started it, I'm always going to be in charge of this. You want to get the group of guys where you kind of take turns, like, okay, I'll be first sergeant this time. It's like, who's going to be captain? I don't want it. You're like, that's the healthy group that will reenact, I think, for the right reasons, and tend to not get split up by all the
drama
stupid
is what
mind.
it is. Like, let's just
it's childhood. It's
drama.
Playground drama.
Yep.
With and
I've been involved in it. Like, not saying, I'm not just like, oh, these fucking idiots. No, I've done it. I've been involved in it. And but I was also in a very miserable point in my life when I was involved in it. So it's like, I don't know why, like, the hobby attracts those kind of people, like, in large numbers.
It does. It attracts them in droves, and and half of them are former military trying to relive their glory.
That was partially it for me too. I'm not gonna lie. It's like, it was.
So I reenacted before I actually joined the real military. So I did it backwards, but now I don't want any part of being in charge at all. I'd fallen as a private wherever I can.
I like doing lower middle management, like a corporal or a sergeant.
I don't even want hard stripes. I just want to be I want to be the eyes glazed over dumb private.
Well, it's easier to be a private than it is to be
exactly. I can show up to the event, participate, and then after the last formation dismissed, bye, off to my truck. I jump in, there I go. I don't have I have absolutely no interest in being in any, and I used to be I was a company commander, I was a first sergeant, I was infantry battalion sergeant major in reenacting. Right. I mean, now that's fun, being a commissioned officer in the Army for real and then pretending to be a sergeant major is fun. That was fun. But I'm over all the politics.
Reenacting is not fucking real. That's the thing, is people got to realize
it's guys playing dress up. Guys, so everyone's fighting over the ramrods. Like, well, the event's not authentic if I'm not able to ram.
Then don't show up.
Well, you're not ramming a bullet either, so you're not authentic there. So there's a level, like, until you actually start chopping off legs and shooting real bullets, you're never going to actually be real. So there is an element of pretend, of non-authenticity that you have to accept if you participate in this hobby. And and that line gets drawn in different places. And I guess for right now, it's all over Facebook. It's just ramrod hysteria. Like I guess now that is the line between you're not an authentic reenactor unless you use the ramrod. And any reenactment where you're not able to use the ramrod is beneath us and not to be it's not real.
No, I
And
get
I'm
it.
like, well,
It's
even
an
if
ego
you do
thing,
ram it though, even if you are ramming,
black powder.
you're still not actually ramming a bullet. So it's is it more authentic? Yes. Is it authentic? No. It does move the dial slightly more because Civil War soldiers would have actually took their ramrod out. They would have rammed the bullet down. A lot of times they will ram the paper down on top of the powder.
Sure.
Which causes confetti to burst out when they fire.
Yep.
That's not authentic.
No.
So you're trading one authenticity for another inauthenticity, but you're willing to tolerate one to do the other, and it just kind of makes it just like.
Here's the thing, and I throw this word around not that often because it's very overused and it's lost its meaning. A big reason why I quit reenacting in general is it's filled with so many fucking wannabes. Like, it's filled with so many people who are trying to live out a fantasy, and they want it to be as close.
It's all a fantasy. Yeah.
No, but you know what I mean. Like, they're trying to live out their fantasy, whatever it may be, of being a soldier, but they don't understand that it's not fucking real. They want it to be real. That's the thing, is like they want it to be real. And it's kind of a fucked up, weird fetish, in my opinion. Like, I reenact because it's fun to hang out with people who are cool and like-minded.
Like, I always think if I was like a psychology major or something, studying reenactor culture would be an awesome master's thesis. Like, because
actually,
we have...
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah, we have these distinct cultures, these values and cultures in this fake environment where we're grown men playing dress up, and we take ourselves so seriously, and we're high on our own farts.
Yeah,
and we're
there
willing,
you go. Yep.
We're willing to completely. It reminds me of religious denominations, where
it's very similar. It's a similar concept.
Where
yep.
we all believe in God. Like, you're Seventh-day Adventists, and we are Presbyterians, and we all believe in 98% of the same things. Like, we've already gone to the point that we take our weekends and we will go put on wool clothes and go camp out in the field and go march out and fight a pretend battle. Like, we're already there. We already have this common ground. But over some little tiny quibble of doctrine, we will condemn the other side to hell.
Yeah,
like,
well,
we're not going to go with you because you don't follow all of these sacred rules that we've decided are important somehow. And just for the record, I am a Reformed Baptist, so the Seventh-day Adventists are probably going to all burn in hell. I'm kidding. Just the Methodists. Okay, we're cool. We get ourselves just so worked up over, like, if you just take a step back
as well. If you think about it, the same concept can be applied to society as a whole. You know,
we're so quick to obsess over the tiny things. Like, you're already reenactors on a fake battlefield at a reenactment. You've already loaded your truck. You're already there. You're already wearing the uniform, but you're willing to split yourselves apart because one side uses ramrods and one side doesn't. Do you remember the Dr. Seuss book about two towns that went to war because one side buttered their bread on the top and one side buttered their bread on the bottom?
I don't remember it, but
it's like a Dr. Seuss book about the absurdity of things that we fight over. That, like,
it really is. It's become even worse. I think it's become more magnified and amplified, rather, since like the advent of the internet, because it's like,
of course,
now we can bitch at each other. You know, I can bitch at you, and you're halfway across the fucking country right now.
Yeah,
if I want
now the Methodists can just say whatever they want anytime they want. I know, it's terrible.
Oh my god, that is funny as shit. I love poking the bear with that shit because it's like I don't give a fuck. Like you're right. Like it's like 98% of everybody who's religious or 98% of Americans or whatever. Oh, we're already there. Like we already agree on the same shit for the most part, but we focus on that fucking. It's a funny joke. If any Methodist gets pissed off, I'm just gonna let him cook.
Oh, it's all. I poke fun at the Methodists all the time. In fact, my shop, my open sign says at the bottom, "Positively no Methodists." It's
well, that's good because I was raised Catholic, and so it's the Methodists gave us a run for our money, like a good run, and I was like, damn, I'm glad I'm not a Methodist.
Well, so the irony is being essentially Presbyterian is like we agree with Methodists on like 99.4% of everything, but there's these couple tiny little things.
And really, if you look at it, who gives a fuck? Like, it's so funny. But that, again, this same concept can be applied to reenacting, society in general. I
think it's worse in reenacting, though. I think it's like amplified somehow because you already got to be. You're not a normal person if you're a reenactor.
No,
you're not a normal person.
Nope.
Society, like normal society, kind of looks at you like, oh, like you say, it's kind of like some fetish fantasy that normal people don't get. They're like, why do you want to spend your weekends doing that? So you're already abnormal in the eyes of normal people.
Oh, for sure. Yep.
But yet this group of abnormal people who plays dress up gets mad at each other because one side doesn't play dress up the way the other side thinks they should play dress up. It's just absolutely ludicrous.
Yeah, I'm just like,
well.
they're. I mean, here's the thing: is I still like to play dress up, but I just use my YouTube channel as kind of the method to like teach people about it because I like living history a lot better than reenacting because it's like I don't need to do the gunfights. Like it doesn't do any like it's not fun.
I do most of my videos in not street clothes.
Right.
So I'm either a nerd in tweed or I'm in a Union uniform or a British uniform, and I get the comments all the time like, "Oh,
well, you know what? So do I." They're always like, "Oh, why are you dressed up? You like playing dress up?"
Yeah.
And I just say, "Yes, I do."
Yeah, I don't care because it's a gimmick for my channel. Is how it's like it's something that I do that's a little different than every other nerd out there talking about the Civil War. You know?
Yep, exactly. And that's the thing too is like have you ever seen that video of when I was doing a World War I video and I had just moved in here and I had all my guns stacked right behind me, and about halfway through I took a step and the floor shifted and I had fucking like 60 guns just go down.
Geez.
And I just went, here, I'll try to find the video. And I was talking about fat reenactors, and then you can go to sleep. I'm sorry, I'm keeping you, but like
I have no idea what we're doing at drill tomorrow.
Well, you're an officer, you'll figure it out, right?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna share this really quick. You'll probably be able to relate to it quite a bit. It's probably happened to you once.
I'm always so nervous about leaving.
Oh, dude,
like, you never lean a rifle up against the table or something because it's gonna slide.
It's gonna drop with it.
Yep, it's going to. That's probably where my paranoia comes from.
So, all right, can you see it?
Yes.
All right. So I was talking about the old and fat reenactors.
Why are you dressed up like that?
Because I'm a fucking nerd and I like playing dress up. That's why.
I can't fault anybody for it because our current lifestyle allows us to do that. And if you're not in the military, you're not working out all the time, which is most people. It's you're not going to be perfectly physically fit, and I totally get that, and that's totally fine in the hobby. Our point was we try to make up for the weight thing with having accurate equipment and uniforms and gear and all that stuff, doing the research that kind of goes hand in hand, and wearing it correctly. So
I bet the comments were spicy on this video.
The second guy was just kind of huge, like
Fuck is the
big, consistent. But the first guy, like, I mean, you're talking where you have a gut hanging over your belt, like it's protruding out and over. Like the fupa is not just there; it's like, and that's not a good thing. Like if your belt is maxed out, which mine is, it's an original, but it's maxed out, and you have to wear it underneath your stomach, below your waistline, just so you can get it on and like have the rest of your gear on, maybe. We've talked about this, and he's an older guy, but he doesn't look that old, which is kind of cool. And we both kind of have weight issues. We've been struggling with that since we both got out of the military. But he was saying that he tries to. Oh yeah.
Ouch. Yep, that's where it was. I forgot about that. Dude, I just remember because like you just saw I took like one step, my floor shifted, and it just fucking.
We've been struggling with that since we both got out of the military. But he was saying that he tries
to. I like how the camera wall bounces.
Oh, dude, the fucking floor shook. My wife was in the other room, and she comes in. She goes, "Is everything okay?" I'm like, "No, it's not okay." No,
Man,
there's like
that's how the sights get knocked off of muskets. That's very common. They slide off tables and.
That was literally my reaction. I'm just like, oh god, like what the fuck, man. But yeah, most of the comments are actually pretty funny. They're just like, oh no, like I felt that shit.
Yeah, I felt that from here.
I had the camera on a tripod or the phone on a tripod, and the fucking. Oh my god, it was so many guns that just went, and the ones that made the most noise were like my M16 clones, like my Vietnam ones with the fiberglass. They fell at the end, and they just went all over the floor, and I'm just like, oh.
That's heartbreaking.
But nothing got actually damaged.
I got mine all in. I don't know if you can see it, but
in racks. Yep.
Yeah, the racks are kind of overflowing.
And we had just moved
in.
That's why
guns everywhere there.
Oh, same.
This is the musket room.
Yeah, it's fucking god.
These are the original logs. I think they're chestnut logs. Yeah, 1860. This house was built.
Yeah, old growth wood. It lasts literally almost forever.
Oh, it's incredibly hard. Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, I do got to go to bed. I got to go play Army.
Good stream. We've been rolling for 3.5 hours, so yeah.
Yeah, geez, I'm surprised my battery lasted this time.
All right, man. Thanks so much. For those who are watching either now or ex post facto, I have a link to Brett's channel, Paper Cartridges, in the description. Go check out his videos. If you want to know anything about black powder cartridges, history of a bunch of different weapons, he's constantly making content, and he's made a shitload so far that is taught me a shitload. And just as you can see, he's an okay guy for an officer. Not bad. I've met worse. But so go check out his channel, subscribe to him and all that stuff. And thanks for watching. And what should be the I always do like a keyword for people that are watching after the fact. What should the keyword be if they watch to the end in the comments?
I don't know. We did basic training stories most of the time.
How about next man?
Next man.
What you want, next man?
Next man. Next man.
Come on, next man. You're not moving fast enough. Come on, next man. Come on.
Fort Benning.
Man, Fort Benning back in the day, man. That was.
Yeah.
Come on,
let me know if you want to complain about more shit next Friday. I'll be around.
It's like it's just kind of like fun to like because now we're.
I love complaining.
It's fun. Well, yeah, I mean you're an officer, so like of course it's just it comes with the territory.
Look what the soldiers have done now.
But you can't complain down. But it doesn't matter because I've been out for 12 years now, 13 years. So you can complain down to me because I'm a civilian now. I may, as some kid that I lit up yesterday said, I'm a regular civilian. Now. Yeah, what?
I only have like 7 soldiers in my section.
Well, make sure their fingers are attached.
I will do finger inspections. Yeah, to put those numbers on my OAR. Yeah, you got to quantify percentages.
So what if one grows another finger? Does that count as the 101%?
That's 101%. That's you've done an outstanding job. Promote ahead of peers.
Yes. Get the frickin' silver oak leaves, man. Get the silver oak leaves. All right, man.
That's a long way away.
That's all right. Keyword in the comments is next man. That shows you watched this whole shit show through.
Yeah,
which is awesome.
I would be shocked if anyone is still hanging on by their fingernails.
People actually watch this, like they'll listen to it like when they're just working their job or they're just like bored.
Maybe they're trying to fall asleep.
They'll comment with next man. I guarantee you check this video in like 3 days, there'll be a bunch of people that comment with next man. And also if you were at Fort Benning between like, I don't know, the 1990s to like 2013 or 14, and you went through basic and or AIT there, comment with what your experience with next man in the Defac was, because it's not just us. That was a thing. Yeah. Definitely. So
thousands of guys going through there. All right, Mike. Hey, I had fun.
We'll see you.
We'll see you next time.
End the stream.